You are listening to the Savage FINcast, episode 100, co-hosts of FINcast Past.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that sold its soul to Malbolgia. My name is Jim.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that on occasion shoves its politics down your throat. My name's Raven.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that gives me an excuse to get drunk and shoot the shit and write crappy haikus. My name is Craig.
Craig got really real for his.
Too real.
So we've got a very special episode. They said it was impossible, but, you know, it's possible. We have done it. 100 Savage Dragon episodes. Though technically it's more 101, and that doesn't include all the retros and the Finisodes and the various other things. But, you know, we call it episode 100.
To make ourselves feel better.
Yeah.
Eat a fat dick, perfectionists. It's our 100th episode, and I don't care.
I'm stoked to get into it and to talk to all of our ex-hosts, right?
Well, that's the thing, is that for this very special episode 100, we will not be reviewing an issue, even though issue 253 or 253 just came out. We will be saving that for next time to dedicate an appropriate amount of time to it. This episode, we are instead going to take a look at ourselves, go back to our roots, as it were, and we're going to talk to all the ghosts of FINcast ghosts of FINcast hosts to the future. We're going to be talking to the original co-host, Nick Justus. We're going to talk to his replacement, Adam Pruett. We're going to talk to regular recurring guest host, Zac Hawkins, and of course,
you should have replaced me.
Well, we tried, but you demanded your turn, so we had acquiesced. And then, of course, we finally have our sometimes guest host whenever we need to fill in or just need someone fresh to talk to, Scott James.
Scott Schmeckel James.
Yeah, man. Listen, I know that you, dear listener, you're looking at that runtime. You're thinking, no fucking way is this going to be engaging. But I, Raven, from the future, am here to tell you that you are in for such a treat. These fellas got a lot to say. Some of these characters have been out of commission on the FINcast for a long time. And you won't believe just what a fantastic show you've really gotten. I beseech thee, dear listener, if at all possible, carve off a slice of time for these fantastic fellas that came here to talk to you today about their love of Savage Dragon.
Fantastic Fella sounds like a good comic book.
I'd buy it. I'd buy two.
But before we can get to that, we got a few news items we should rattle off through.
Indeed. Top of the hour, our top headline, Savage Dragon 257's... Thank you. Savage Dragon 257's cover was revealed on Eric Larson's Facebook. I was trying to say too many things at once.
You fumbled.
I fucked it up. Eric dropped 257's cover on us, and as always happens whenever we see a new cover, it blew everyone's balls off. Nothing but a bunch of eunuchs in the Savage Dragon fandom now, because we've got Thor just bashing the hell out of Malcolm's brain with his hammer. The dragon and the thunder god. It's fantastic, this cover.
And
Craig?
Like he's been doing usually, Eric did also provide like a whole bunch of different like color variants, different logo colors, highlight colors and background colors. I think he finally settled on orange title with blue background.
Oh, did he?
I
thought he was doing the blue background.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you said orange.
I said
orange.
I said orange logo and blue background.
All right, I'm an idiot.
Right.
Now, personally, I was a big fan of orange logo and purple logo and orange background, or as I like to have called it, the grape and orange crush cover.
Fenta.
I agree.
Fenta. I like that cover too. Honestly, I see why blue is the one he went with. Lightning.
I don't at all.
I mean, it's moodier. I mean, the color on the lightning makes more sense.
But he talked about, and I think he confirmed that he's going to be doing 2 covers for a while, right?
Yes.
So he's got alternate cover. He's got that old kind of Marvel trade dress type thing with like the Image Comics group kind of strip across the top.
Old-timey 70s Marvel trade dress. Now, for me, that is my trade dress because I started reading in the 90s, and he was using that during the quote-unquote Savage World era, his Kirby period, as it were.
So does that mean if he's doing 2 covers for each issue for the kind of near future that we're going to get like a blue background and maybe an orange or something different color background?
I'm actually not sure how that breaks down. I kind of thought they'd be the same cover with different trade dress. Yeah,
be interesting to see because I know he's got that other cover with Paul Dragon on the front. What's that issue? 250.
Empty Grave.
That's 255, I think.
And he had one that Nico's completely colored. So he colored it first with that like trippy. There's like a trippy kind of like red background. It looks almost like Kirby dots or something going on. And
it's
then
a Dimension
Nico's
X cover, yeah.
Recently recolored it with like an orange kind of atmospheric background.
Right. And I think so.
He's releasing both.
He is, and I think they're both going to have trade dress variants as well, or maybe one or the,
sure.
Or maybe Eric's is going to be the Marvel style, and Nikos is going to be the classic Dragon style.
He hasn't released any information about like different order numbers on Diamond or anything like that, so it'll be interesting to kind of find out, and we'll keep the listeners in the loop when we find out.
But yeah, the cover's awesome, and as they usually are, and I'm excited for the new trade dress style because I like that trade dress style.
Yeah, the covers
I'm excited.
Have been on fire lately.
Well, I'm excited for this fucking fight because I mean, Malcolm Thunder Powers versus God of Thunder. Fuck yeah, dude! I can't wait.
Lightning powers, you mean?
Lightning powers, yeah. I can't wait to see like the clash. Like, is Malcolm going to become supercharged by this lightning? Is it going to like be too much and overload his body, or is like just they're both going to just be immune and it's going to be a contest of raw strength? Like, there's so many ways that this shit could shake out.
Yeah,
I'm fucking excited. The minute I saw this cover, my mind started racing.
And Thor is a great character and a reoccurring baddie and something. Besides Dart, we haven't really seen too many reoccurring bad guys in Savage Dragon lately, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be nostalgic, but fun, because, we also know Thor's got his son, too, and we don't know what Thor's son's powers are, if any.
Right. We know he's a demigod, but we don't know how strong he is. We don't know if he could do lightning. There's so much awesome about this.
He has all the powers of Little Orphan Annie.
Fantastic.
Next up is kind of an interesting news tidbit. It's not really a news item. So last year, or actually that's not true, this summer, Hasbro and Marvel released a whole line of like 90s style Spider-Man action figures. They were really themed towards like the style of Spider-Man from the early 90s. In fact, part of the line included the 90s Daredevil costume, because when the heck are they ever going to make a figure out of that? Because they'll make a figure out of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently the second wave of that line is coming out soon, and there's been a leak showing that the Eric Larson designed Cyborg Spider-Man is going to be part of that line, with the big cyborg arm and like the bandage on his head. That classic cover with him and Deathlock. I never read it. I don't have a lot of affinity with the character, but it is very interesting that a an Eric Larson, classic design is getting an action figure.
Spider-Man 21, the adjectiveless Spider-Man.
Like there's no details on when it's coming out or what, but I do know I've seen the previous wave in like Walmart and Target, so they're not going to be hard to get a hold of, and they're about $20 when they are there. So if that's your thing, keep an eye out probably the next 6 months.
Yeah, the rumor is that it's going to be on the Hasbro Pulse, whatever that is.
It's probably it's a news.
Is that their own Kickstarter thing?
No, not a Kickstarter. It's like a Hasbro releases so many action figures, they actually need their own mini like show to like announce all the new announcements. So I think that's what Hasbro Pulse is. It's like it's a showcase of all their upcoming figures.
I'll tell you though, the figure is pretty dead on from what Eric designed. It's pretty cool.
Modern action figures are kind of insane in how much detail they can get away with these days because of 3D modeling technology. Because you can basically model anything you want and print it out, whatever you want, and so the detail's way better than it used to be. And joints are also way better than they used to be.
Even the robotic arm though, it's got like the kind of the capsules around the bicep that's in the art, and like the kind of shingly, like I don't know how you explain it.
Well, they're ribbed.
Yeah, or no, but I'm just saying like in his shoulder he had those like kind
of the weird shoulder pad.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know how you. It looks almost like tiled or like I don't know, but whatever, like shingles or something. But and then the bandage around the leg and the the bandana or whatever. But it's pretty dead on.
So I never read the story, but the story is
story's awesome.
He was injured and he had to have like this cybernetic like thing over his arm to heal his arm.
Yep,
and that's the dealie. And his weird utility belt. I guess it comes with
pouches. Man needs pouches.
Gotta have those pouches, dude. Question, fellas: you get a cyborg arm. You only got it for a while.
I just punch everything I can.
Not the direction I was going. Do you think that you got to jerk it, right?
No.
Look at
you might rip it off.
Look at those fucking ridges. You'll cut yourself.
Mm-hmm. It'll get pinched. It'll get pinched in your side.
It's got to really suck.
Pinched in your Colossus ridge.
It's seriously got to suck for Super Patriot to just be a torso with just robot limbs.
Dude, you guys ever play Centipede with the little rolly ball in the arcade? And you like get too aggressive with that rolly ball and you pinch your hand.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen with your like Colossus ridged hand. When you go to jerk it, you're gonna pinch it.
Yep. All right. I just would have thought that
that's
maybe
a no-go, dude.
All
and
right, cool.
You might not know your own strength and just completely rip the joystick right out of the console.
Fair. I think you guys might have saved me from a bleak future, a dark timeline.
In case you're Cyborg, Spider-Man, or Neighbor Craig,
Neighbor Craig could have done it.
These are warnings.
Neighbor Craig definitely did it. I'm positive.
Do not take your cable arm and jerk it.
No, it's going to end bad.
And if it doesn't, I don't know. You dodged a bullet, but but you're still going to do it because you can't resist the temptation, Raven. Let's face it.
You certainly can't resist talking about it.
I mean, guys, we got a beefy show. Do you think that we should sort of just let those FINcast hosts of Christmas Past jump on in?
Is that you telling me I shouldn't be talking about this anymore?
I mean, you can if you want. Listen, I could talk about cybernetic masturbation all day long.
Nope, let's get into it.
All right. Thank you, dear listeners. Without further ado, let's get rolling.
So we are joined now with one of the original Savage FINcast co-host, one Nick Justus, was there with us on our very first pilot episode 0.
Whoa.
Good to have you back, Nick.
Hello. Good to be here.
So it's been a really long time, almost 9 years. I don't think you were on. I think we had you on a couple times as like an interview guest. I actually didn't go back and look. I probably should have done that, but because I know we talked about like your comic project at some point. in the very far past.
Wow.
It's been 10 years. Did you get it done?
Oh my gosh. No, I didn't. No. I think I did. I have to go back and look and listen.
What was it, like Jesus E. Lee? That was you?
Oh yeah.
I think that's what we talked about.
That's way back in the rearview mirror.
Dang.
Yeah.
He's
So,
still alive in my heart. I don't care. I think he's great.
So how you been? How's life been treating you these last decade, and also this year that is also a decade?
A lot of moves, physical moves for me and my family. Actually just moved back to Virginia at the beginning of COVID quarantine. So like early March, we moved to Virginia from New Jersey.
Upgrade.
Wait, so I know you sold your whole Savage Dragon collection, right?
Yes.
To move?
Not just my whole Savage Dragon collection, but every comic.
Whoa.
We need to talk about this. This is hurting my soul just
It
hearing
was
this.
like 23, 24 long boxes worth.
Oh, is that all?
Was it like as one collection to like a comic shop, or
Yes, one lump sum.
and you weren't like, I'm just gonna pull my Savage Dragon stuff right out of this just to keep this on the side?
I knew if there was one thing that I would like wholeheartedly, as quick as possible, try to recollect would be Dragon. That was the goal. I said I can always get these back, and yeah, within a couple of months here in Virginia, I believe I had the entire run again. So
Oh, you did?
Cool.
Yeah, I know.
Even all those hard to
following-
get 200 issues?
yes, everything.
So you did it right before COVID, right? And then I remember seeing you like buying it back and trading with guys or whatever it was, like on the Facebook pages.
yes,
But were you noticing like the prices getting jacked up while you were doing this? Because I know, like, and for the listeners, like some of those back issues post 150 seem like they've really skyrocketed with COVID, with everybody kind of.
I was able to find a couple shops here in Virginia, in Richmond and Charlottesville, that had issues in the 200s at cover price.
Oh,
So-
nice.
So I was like, let me snag this up. I found I think 2 or 3 copies of was it 222?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the cover, with the black and white cover and the
The flames of the
correct? Yes.
Lightning Girl, or what's her name, Marsha?
Yeah, Marsha, I think's on the cover, yeah.
Yep.
The black and white ones, you said?
Yeah, the variant. There's a black and white
Wow.
variant.
I mean, because those prices are like through the roof on eBay now. eBay is ridiculous, first
So I
of
just
all.
tried to avoid all of that. I was like,
Yeah,
no, I'm not
it's
doing
like
eBay.
it's weird though, because I feel like the comic shops have now kind of caught up and noticed. Because I looked at my comic shop the other day just to see the back issues, and like all the like kind of more recent back issues are like gone. So either like people are snagging them up, or the shops are like putting them on eBay, boosting them up. So unfortunately, I mean, it's two sides of it. One thing, it's kind of cool that people are paying attention now and snapping up back issues and maybe hopefully collecting. But on the other side, it's like these things used to be, you know, a penny a dozen or whatever, you know what I mean? It used to be like, oh, no big deal. I can go get more if I want it, or I can buy some and turn a friend onto it. And now it's really hard to find them.
There is one issue I'm still trying to track down. I think it's 123. I think it's the Wanted issue. I have
No, that's not 123. That is
132.
No, I think you're right. Somewhere around there. I know it's... No, where is it? Usually-
What are you looking for? The variant cover?
No, I have the J.H. Williams variant. I'm looking for the regular Eric Larson, like watercolored
I think
cover.
it's 127. Is that the one with Glum?
128.
Oh, 128?
That's the one that's got the J.G. Jones variant.
Right.
The
Yes,
Wanted guys.
That's the
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
one, yes.
Yeah,
All right, listeners, you hear that? Our boy Nick's looking for 128.
Yeah, make it happen.
The watercolor.
The
cover,
the
original.
dragon, I mean the Eric Larson cover, right?
right. The dragon's getting his face smashed sideways
Yeah.
around.
Yep.
And
Pretty sure I have that one.
So that's pretty wild, though. How much do you think you spent to get that collection back? If you don't mind me asking that, me prodding into your personal financial affairs.
Yeah, give us the money.
ballpark, honestly, probably under 400. 300
That's
something.
really good, dude.
Yeah, it's good, but still, like, it hurts. Next time you have to sell your collection, just tell me. I will buy it from you and hold it like a pawn shop or something, so you can get it back.
He'll pawn it.
No, I will hold on to it. I hate to see such a fan like have to go through that. I mean, I'm so glad that you got it all back.
Oh yeah, dude.
And now I'm getting more stuff now that isn't even stuff I had before. I realized a lot of my collection it's stuff I would never look at again. My tastes have changed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting more indie things now. It was a lot of, mainstream DC and Marvel stuff that honestly, I would get things for artists that I like. And I'll actually get some of that back again. But priority number one was getting Dragon back as quick as I could.
Are you like into getting all the spin-offs too, or
never was much into the spin-offs.
You know what's funny, Nick? I never was either, man. I was absolutely I only need to read the main book. I don't give a shit about this other stuff. Jim and Craig's retros have put me onto that shit. So you might want to snap that up before it becomes hard to get to.
Well, I saw your post recently, like yesterday, with all the covers of the Freak Force issues and everything you picked up.
I was only going to get a few, and then what's funny is I just started thumbing through, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, is it all here? And it was. And one copy of everything, too. So I was just like, oh, come on. I was like, if I don't just buy this, it will suddenly have gaps. I was like, screw it, and just went for it. Yeah, but I'm just telling you, like,
Freak Force is actually a fun ride, and it's pretty consistent. I mean,
since you're buying anyway, you might as well take that plunge. Might as well.
All of my art books, I had like 2 bookshelves worth of books too, just gone. But
it's kind of good though sometimes when you're moving, just to kind of clean out and just. There's some. I notice I have a lot of stuff that I just don't look at, and it's like, well, what am I holding on to this for?
And I honestly started packing the stuff up, and I didn't have much moving help at all.
Ooh.
Didn't have money to hire anybody to do it for me, so I just said, I'm not going to take this stuff.
Right.
Just parted with it. Just it was hard to do, but getting away with my family meant more than my books or comics.
Sure. Wow, what a journey though. Anyway, are you loving the new digs? Are you adjusting?
This is actually where I'm from.
Hell yeah, dude.
I live close.
I couldn't tell. It sounds like you have a Boston accent.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
So I'm like surrounded by chickens and cows.
Hey, you're talking to a man from West Virginia. That's good living.
It's a change of pace, like the fast pace of like North Jersey and New York is a different world, man. You move back here and everybody's so laid back and in no hurry.
Do you have a comic shop down your way, or did you find a new place, or how are you getting your comics fixed now?
The comic shops are like an hour away.
Wow.
Richmond or Charlottesville. I'm just going back to the same main store and a couple little side stores that I used to shop at before I even moved to New Jersey and went to the Kubert school. So the stores I was shopping at like over 10 years ago, I just reverted to going back to those shops again.
So with them being an hour away, I'm assuming you like kind of like a once a month type of thing, or
once a week. Usually Saturday we have to go into the city anyway.
Yeah.
Because my son's karate and swim classes are on Saturday, so
oh, cool.
We take him to those and then hit the comic shop afterwards. And
hell yeah.
Yep, he loves it. He goes in and picks out. They have a nice young adult section and like kids book section, and he'll pick out something. And it's a pretty cool store.
Nice.
Awesome, man. It feels like you are constantly like a perpetual motion machine of sketch covers. You're just a beast. You never rest.
I can't. This is like when my son was born 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In February of 2016, I dropped my full-time job and just went completely freelance. Just gave it, just quit. And so I've been just doing freelance art, sketch covers.
No kidding. Wow.
11 by 17 pieces. Crowdfunded a book that I'm currently working on.
Is that
Plug
the
it,
dude that
man.
guest
Tell
starred?
us about it.
It's called Serpent Handler.
Yes, dude.
It's I think I had a goal of 5,000 I wanted to reach, and I was able to cross that. I actually sold the original cover art for $1,000, which was a blessing.
Wow.
To one of the guys who gets a lot of sketch covers from me. Actually, he threw that money down and bought the cover, so that put me over the top. And then I funded it through Indiegogo instead of Kickstarter.
Indiegogo, you don't have to actually reach your goal to be funded, though, right?
Right. You still get the money. A lot of people don't like it, I know, because of its affiliation with Comicsgate.
Right.
I'll say it out front, but I want it to be known that I am not.
We know you, dude. We know you. You're good.
And people say, why did you go through Indiegogo? Why did you use that to fund your book? And I just was like, well, everybody else uses Kickstarter. I just wanted to, it's another option. I want to see what it's like. I wasn't confident that I would reach my goal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The service itself, I don't think is affiliated. The books don't get funded, so they need a service that doesn't need full funding to get the money.
Right.
But you crushed your goal, right?
Excellent. I'm so happy that you actually, achieved your goal.
But the move to Virginia and COVID and everything, and then I got another gig that I committed to, has sort of put me behind. So I'm running late on my crowdfunded book. Thankfully, the people that have backed me, I've given them some updates, and they understand. Thankfully, they're not.
So beyond like just the initial crowdfunding, is that going to book going to be available to people after the fact? Like if you wanted to buy it now, could you get in on it somehow?
Yes, you can. It's still in demand on. So I just had a patron a couple of days ago out of nowhere, and that's the way it always happens. Every 1 week I'll get a couple extra patrons, and it might, the next week nothing, and then out of nowhere someone else will make a contribution. It might just be the book, or they might buy a book and a pin-up, or
nice
the sticker combo, or whatever. Or I haven't sold many original pages of art, but I did sell the cover, so that's cool.
What you should, dude. That Serpent Handler is a badass character. I mean, I drew him in the cameo.
Yeah,
Holy shit, he's great, dude.
Nice. What's the easiest way to find the campaign?
Go to Indiegogo.com and just if you type in Serpent Handler in the search window,
it'll bring you right to it.
Should just take you straight to it.
Awesome.
Or if you go to my Instagram, Nick Justus Art, it should be a link in my profile on Instagram, I think.
Nice.
I had it there. It should still be there, I hope.
I feel like with the name Nick Justus, you were predestined to be into superhero comics.
Oh, yeah. No choice.
Remember, that's Justus, folks.
Yes.
Nick Justus.
Last October, I got a gig for an indie comic, penciling and inking. So I'm about to wrap up my 5th issue of that next week.
Awesome, dude.
Then I can jump back into Serpent Handler. But I mean, this project has put me behind. But it was a paying gig for a cool indie book, and I couldn't turn it down. I was like, I better do this. It's a fun project. It's 5 issues guaranteed with the possibility of more. So I have a feeling after this 5th issue is done, I'll probably be asked if I want to do more or not.
So is it under wraps, or can you tell us what it is?
Oh, yeah. It's called Anne Bonny. It's like a pirate adventure magic comic.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
What is there under a label, like a company?
How is that spelled?
Anne Bonny. ANNEBONNIE.
Excellent.
Nice. I hear Jim typing it up as we speak.
From Blue Juice. Blue Juice Comics.
Blue Juice?
Yes.
Ah, you like the juice, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, you got to give us the elevator pitch for Serpent Handler, man. Such a cool character. Sell to people. Give him that I got this elevator ride to dazzle someone pitch, because it's great.
In one sentence, imagine if Jack Kirby took a He-Man action figure, a Masters of the Universe action figure, gripped it in his hand, in his tight fist, and jammed it down your throat.
And that is so accurate, dude.
I'm sold.
It's good.
Sold.
He's like a fucking pyramid-headed dude riding a tiger with like 7 legs. I'm not even joking. It's fucking awesome, man. It's
I love
great.
Comics.
I've been listening to a lot of. Well, I haven't. That's the toughest part of this year for me. Honestly, is we've had our son at home every day, and I work from home, and thankfully my wife does too. She still works for the company out of New Jersey that she worked for in New Jersey. They gave her a computer, and she still does the same thing. But I used to listen to music and podcasts and all this content while I worked, and that's just been slashed to nothing this year. So I haven't been able to really enjoy myself with music or just my conditions that I'm used to working in.
So I'm assuming like internet's the issue, right?
Well, I mean, I work like in the room next to my wife.
Uh-huh.
So she likes silence.
Oh, got it. Okay.
The son's there with the TV on, watching what he wants to watch or working on what he wants to work on. We have to work with him on his remote schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, next to impossible unless and if I put in some earbuds or something and listen to music, I can't be attentive. I'm tuned out and not, paying attention to him or what he needs and stuff. So it's, so come to my mom's and use her internet. It's bad.
So let's talk about Savage Dragon a little bit. Like, what? I know we've been asking all of our kind of former hosts on this podcast what they have thought about the direction that it's going in. I mean, with Paul Dragon back in the picture, what's been your reaction post kind of 250?
I bit my knuckles and I said, "Oh, if." I was like, "No, Eric didn't. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. What is he doing?" I mean, I was pumped.
All right, I was gonna say, no, he didn't in a good way, or no, he didn't in a bad way.
Good way.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I was surprised it took him this long to do it.
Right?
With Paul Dragon in the picture, you think it?
Is he ever going to bring him into the fold? When will it happen if he ever does it? Somehow, some way. And how will he do it?
I thought it was taboo. I thought he was just never going to do it.
When he teased him in the Merging the Multiverse, I thought maybe he was going to do something then. But then Dragon died. And so then I forgot about him.
Right.
Then he surprised us.
I went out and bought the second printing of issue 250 as well. I did pick that up.
Nice.
Because I'm a sucker for Eric's trade dress, the old Marvel looking.
The old school.
How many covers did you buy?
Of the second print?
Of 250,
well, no, 250 in general.
Oh, 250 in general. One of the regular Eric cover.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, didn't want anyone else's covers.
Right.
Sure, fair.
And then just the reprint?
If I had gotten one, I probably would have gotten the Walt Simonson if I could have find it, but I didn't see it anywhere. So then the second print, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And a handful of the white sketch covers.
I was gonna say you had to get some sketch
you're sketching
covers.
away.
And I got like 3 or 4 of the green covers.
Oh,
What?
really?
What, you high roller?
No, I didn't pay for them. Don't worry. I initially didn't buy them off of the, was it Scorpion Comics or wherever? I didn't go through them.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I got one in a trade for something. I can't remember what it was. And then
Drugs.
Mm-hmm.
probably,
Did you say ass?
no,
Yes,
Oh.
you did.
He
It was
did,
on the
right?
tip of
I
his
heard
tongue.
that.
That's on the tip of his tongue. He's like, I'm like, ass. We heard it.
We heard it.
Nick, just ass.
I don't want you losing listeners.
They love it. This is what they come for.
And, yeah, a guy sent me one in the mail for in exchange for a sketch cover. He wanted a Dungeons and Dragons sketch cover.
Bad trade on his part.
So I drew that for him.
Sucker.
And I think I have a third one, but I don't recall how I got it. I think that's one I did pay for on eBay. I just I did.
$2 million question, and we were all asking it. Even Eric was like, what would ever go on these that would look good? So you're a sketch cover guy. Like, when you look at that green cover, like, what comes to your mind? What are you thinking as a sketch artist? Like, sketch cover artist?
Well, Dragon first and foremost. I mean, somebody's going to want a Dragon sketch cover eventually.
Right.
Well, I mean, I got like 3 of them, so if and when there ever are conventions again, like if I can get to New York, if I'm not tabling at New York, I'm going to go to Eric and get a commission on one, hopefully.
What are you thinking?
Artist choice.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going to like ask Eric to do this, that, and the other and try to play his art director or something. No, I want him to do what he wants to do.
He's going to draw you a guy in Deuter.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
What do you like draw on the green? Do you use like you gonna just use regular ink, or are you gonna go with something different?
Acrylic paint, probably some paint,
Yeah.
I want to try pastels and like do like a spray adhesive clear coat or something.
Whoa.
You could take sandpaper and actually sand the color off or sand. So I might experiment. I ruined a Detective Comics cover a couple of days ago trying to do that. a blue copy of issue 1027 of Detective. Let me experiment with this, and then just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, so I'm a little reluctant to try that on a Dragon issue. I might not do that.
I know that a lot of these cats, they're into like using whiteout, and it looks great. It's not archival, so it's like I feel like it's going to look shitty and turn bad. So like you mentioned paint, are you into like paint jelly rolls or like jelly roll pens or like whiteout? Like how do you do your white? Like if it was a green cover and you want to pop some white highlights on it, like what's your choice there?
I've used white acrylic. I can't remember what the white ink is called. Pro White. Jelly roll, plenty of jelly roll. I'll use
rolls.
White Prismacolor pencil.
Okay.
The basic white Prismacolor pencil. That works great for me usually. But I mean, usually I do sketch covers and people have them slabbed or something. So I don't, if they're encased, I don't think the elements are going to bother the artwork over time. It should stay pretty pristine.
Cool.
I guess.
We'll see.
We'll find out in 20 years, 30 years.
We asked everybody. 252, the salute to the funnies. How'd that hit you?
Not my favorite initially. I wrote Eric a heartfelt letter about it. I appreciate that he did it. I really like that he did it, but it just wasn't it left me wanting more regular Dragon.
Sure.
It was like I felt like I didn't get my monthly dose or something. Because it wasn't his standard patented artwork. It was, him aping other artists. But I did like that that he did touch on plot points and story. It was story driven. It wasn't, just for the sake of him doing these various styles of cartoons. It wasn't just that, he was able to
still advance the story a little
move the story exactly instead of just having fun with it. And I could see he had fun with it. It just left me a little, I don't know. He's done it before.
Yeah. Even if it's just 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah, still kind of bother you, even if it's just 1 month, knowing that it's going to be back like the next month.
Yeah. I don't know.
Did you
Yeah,
ever
wasn't
come
my-
around? Or still not feeling it?
To 252 in its entirety?
Yeah.
I'm mixed emotions about it. I'm not.
Would there have been a strip highlighted that would have made you feel any different? Would there have been something in there you've been like, oh, you got me?
You.
I think my favorite is still his riff on Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
Fair.
Did you get the newest issue yet?
Yes. Picked it up today.
What'd you think about that? I mean, you had the kind of the continuation of that.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising. I was like, oh, man. So we're free to talk about this.
Yes. In fact, that was a fun thing. We a little behind the curtains there. Everybody else didn't have this luxury, so we're going to take advantage of it with Nick. You know, you get to see Walter introduced in 252. You get to actually see him in Eric's style in 253. Yeah. Didn't you think that was kind of cool?
It threw me for a loop because, you mean, when you open up the book, you're not expecting to see this tiger man, this tiger.
Right.
Like, what the hell is this? It's like, oh yeah, he was in the last issue, and I see everyone saying, you know, they would like on Facebook. On the Facebook, they're saying they want to see the character, you know, more often.
It's like Eric's own Takitani kind of.
Yeah, he's got the plaid, the checkered pants, and the cool looking jacket.
How's he hit you? How you feeling about Walter?
I want to find out where he's from.
We know where he's from.
He's from Gene Tech. He's one of the human monster human hybrids.
Gotcha. Okay.
Animal human hybrids. I mean, it's what Buffalo Stew was, and those dogs that Amy beat up.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and actually Eric confirmed that with the comicbook.com interviews that he does.
Cool.
So it's definitely confirmed.
That makes more sense to me now.
It just seems to be a problem that these Gene Tech creatures are just around.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think's working out pretty good since we got this Tiger Man.
Hell yeah.
Good deal. Real win-win.
Buffalo Stew's still around.
I like that Malcolm is wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt. That I saw that immediately. I thought that was cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Rogue Warrior, since we haven't seen him in so long.
Man, I love Rogue Warrior.
He is a badass.
I forgot he had hand blasts. It's cool to see that again.
Yeah.
Nick, how you feeling about Rogue Warrior's potential friends with benefits arrangement with Dart?
Well, that's actually been kind of going on since like the first time Dart took over the Vicious Circle, because Rogue Warrior was like one of her like lieutenants, or at least one of her like big guns.
Oh yeah.
So I always got the impression back then that they had kind of possibly a thing going on.
Oh.
Maybe not.
I didn't know that.
I'd have to actually go back and check, but I'm pretty sure he was kicking around back when she was leading the Vicious Circle the first time.
Well, mark my words. 254, Rogue Warrior dies.
I hope not.
No, dude.
Yeah.
No, Nick. No.
No.
I mean, his time will
Who
come.
kills him?
Yeah, how?
Dart or Dragon?
Oh, no, Dart. Oh, no, dude.
Well, Dart
Tear his heart out.
Dart doesn't have the God Sword anymore. Oh, well, I guess you can go Shark, so I guess you can totally rip people's hearts out, can't she? Good point.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Shart in a while.
It's swimming beneath the surface.
Shart. That's what I thought you said.
Shart.
Oh, yeah.
Shark Dart.
I always dig let me see, Nikos's colors.
His colors have been
Aren't they so good?
amazing.
They're popping lately on the past few issues since 250, really. He's actually one of the guys I was able to buy a bunch of the bulk issues from.
Nice.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
See, like a lot of his like the complimentary issues that he's been getting. He
Yep.
probably had a stack.
So he went back to when he first started coloring the book, and I was able to score the majority of the issues he colored.
Nice.
How cool.
And he
And that's what's the best about like the Savage Dragon community, like tight knit community. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's like he knows that you're a long time collector.
It was-
willing to step up.
and I guess he saw one of my pleading Sap Story posts or something. He took pity on me because he was like the last person I would expect to like. He messaged me and responded to me, so I was.
So he shipped him off from Greece.
Yeah,
Nice.
blew my mind. So
That is cool, man. That is so cool.
I paid for him. He cut me a little deal.
Yeah, but it's still cool. I mean, the way the prices were getting jacked up and everything. So,
Yeah.
and to be able to get it all from one source. I mean, a lot of these late issues are hard to get because it's just low print runs.
Nick,
I am really good. I was gonna say
sorry.
I'm really happy that you were able to get everything because I saw your post and I was worried that it was going to be tough for you to get everything back. So many people that want to get into Dragon now and want to get into it for the single issues are having a tough time finding them.
I was able to get the Essentials volumes before I even completed the single issue collection again. I was able to pick up those.
Oh, the archives, the black and white collections.
Yeah. And I love those things.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Love those. I sit around and huff those. I just
finger through the pages and just let the breeze
Yep.
flow over you.
Question: we got your Nikos take. Let's hear some, your feedback on. Because guys, we've not heard Nick get to talk about Mr. Farron Delgado.
I was just going to mention him. That was my next thing I was going to comment on. I like his lettering overall. I'm still getting used to it because of the shape of his word balloons, I guess,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and some of his sound effects. It's grown on me. His work has grown on me. And didn't I see Eric say something recently about Farron's resemblance in his work to an older letterist that Eric was fond of?
Well, it's Artie Simek, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely like that old school Marvel Artie lettering.
And that's what I keep in mind when I'm reading, and especially when I read 253 today. I'm like, okay, now it's gelling a little more for me.
The thing I like best is, a digital letterer that can fool you into making you believe that it's handwritten. And I think that he does a great job.
Right.
There's some issues where you can look at and you can tell right off the bat, and we've talked about this on the FINcast with the sound effects, and stuff like that, when you can see that things are just resized or whatever. But
Yeah.
I feel like Farron just does an amazing job kind of tricking your eye into thinking that it's handwritten.
There's a splash page in 253 where Rogue Warrior is rimrodding Malcolm, just knocking the hell out of him.
Mhm.
Big old red doom at the top of the page. That's striking. I like the way Farron was able to, in 252, was able to emulate all of the different lettering styles of the comic strips and was able to draw the titles the way he did. I believe he did the title.
We definitely hit on that. I felt like he was like the unsung hero on that because the lettering is such a big part of the overall package when it comes to those strips.
I hate to keep things rolling, but I just gotta know, like, are you Team Maxine or you think she's Team Obscene?
I'm team Maxine.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Because I don't know. I like her. I didn't initially.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of those things. I guess just like when Eric changes up part of his creative team, like lettering or coloring, it takes a while to get used to.
It's a shock, and Ravens definitely battled me a lot on it, where I was just like, it's too much. And then I come around and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's just Eric doing his thing. And that's the charm of Savage Dragon, is that he's just going to do what he wants and take it or leave it. But it's just good for the comic as a whole that somebody just just does what they want. You know, I think that's the charm of Savage Dragon. I don't know if you agree with that, but it's just like wherever he wants to take it, he's going to take it. No editor is going to tell him what to do. And you're going to be surprised and shocked, and you'll get used to it. And as soon as you get used to it, something different will happen.
And when I started collecting Dragon, like me and my buddies from the beginning, a couple friends of mine, and that's why they fell off. They didn't keep collecting like I did because they just didn't like change. I suppose.
Yeah.
But I've stuck with Eric and Savage Dragon since the beginning. So even when I had to part with the whole collection, it didn't take long to rebuy it. That was, like I said, the priority.
I feel like with corporate comics and stuff, change is more forgiven because teams come in and out every 10 issues or 15 issues or even less. Mm-hmm. So like it's more accepting. With something like Savage Dragon where it's one guy, it's like the minute there's change, it's like it's a big deal to people because they've gotten used to something, and it's one guy doing it all. And so,
and how do you not expect someone to evolve?
Oh, absolutely.
Over time. I mean,
how can you just do the same thing over and over again? You know, that like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, you're an artist and a comic artist at that. It's like, can you imagine like being expected to do the same thing for 28 years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the back of Paul Dragon on the back of 253. He's on the back cover from 1982. I mean, imagine if Eric still drew like that.
Right.
I mean, that's not even the art that people, that initially bought Dragon in 1992, 93. That's not what they never knew about this, the older stuff.
Right.
So
it's amazing though, like thinking as like a young kid, and I don't know, Nick, did you collect it when it first came out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so didn't you think like, oh man, this art can't get any better than this. This is amazing. And then when you go back and look at it, you just notice it's just stiff in some places. I mean, it still looks great, but it definitely like drives me crazy when people are like, he's not as good as he used to be. And it's like, well, he's evolved and like he's learned how to make shortcuts, and it's better cartooning overall,
Big time, dude.
And I think a lot of these people that say things like that probably haven't collected the book in forever.
Oh yeah.
In the first place, and they'll be the first to comment about the Biden cover
Right. There were people really just like, God damn it, I hate this. Like just like furious.
I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore.
You figure he would have shed those people a long time ago though, because he's not like this is something new,
Well, I mean, only thing that came to mind is do they just buy the comic and put it away and not read it?
There's definitely some of that going on for sure.
But I think most of it is people that don't even collect it. Like the whole, I'm not buying this anymore. I'm dropping this comic. Oh, come on. You never bought it. If this is what's shocking you now, you never bought it. Let's be real.
I have to ask, sorry, go ahead. I feel like I've been asking too much.
I was going to say, it's my experience that there are a lot of like quote unquote, but fans who seem to like be art focused, yet don't seem to know a lot about the process or like how comic art comes about, how it evolves over time. There seems to be a lot of ignorance about that. That's why people get latched on to like the early rougher days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I honestly also feel like there's not a lot of comics like Savage Dragon where you can just look at somebody's career for how many years, 20 plus years on one comic and see the evolution like that.
Right.
So you might get guys that work, like you said, 10 issues on one and then jump to another and jump. So that the change isn't so noticeable because they're working on different properties and stuff like that.
But so many people see it as a de-evolution rather than evolution.
You're right.
And that's not healthy because it's like so ignorant of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Artists, I don't know if it becomes simpler. I'm not an artist, but you simplify things that used to be complex over time because you get better at drawing it.
Yeah.
So
every cartoonist does it.
You don't need to labor over like the detail or like background details as much as you used to. That sort of thing.
Right.
Or just understanding cartooning in general. We don't need to make these over complicated costumes. Learning from the masters that keep it simple.
Yeah.
It's cartooning, you know, it's
More
crazy.
More line work doesn't always equal more quality, or it doesn't, you know.
Well, in these artists have been, you know, they're learning from guys that learn from guys that learn from Kirby or whatever. So like every generation gets more diluted and further from like the perfected kind of state, I feel like, in a way. And maybe you guys disagree with that, but you know,
you're right.
It's like, you know, I don't know. It's the same thing with like architecture and everything and music. There's like a certain generation that seems like they perfect it, and then it kind of goes downhill after that. I don't know if that's true, but you know, that's the way I feel sometimes. Like you can look at old buildings and be like, that looks amazing, you know, like the architecture. And then you see new stuff that's built and it just looks like a cardboard castle or something.
Oh, you just don't appreciate the brutal architecture style.
Brutalist Jim. I love it.
It's just anything, you know, music, you know, you get to a point where the Beatles or Jimi Hendrix perfected something and then you listen to something now and it's like it seems to be going in the wrong direction. And I don't know if that's just me being old and getting old and grumpy, but
I don't know. I'm an old grump, and I love modern music.
Yeah.
Guys, times are running low. I have to. I can't let Nick go without asking him. It's just, and I think listeners need to hear it too. Nick, please talk to us about Officer Justus.
Oh wow.
Yeah, who is that?
Justice? I used to be a correctional officer.
What?
Yeah, man. Back in the day, 2001 to 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Before I abruptly walked out of that job and attended the Hubert School.
Nice.
So, yeah, I walked a beat in the prisons here in Virginia for about 7 years. I was a firearms training officer when I was there, training other officers how to shoot shotguns and rifles and handguns and just, you know, counted inmates and did transportation runs, would take them to hospital appointments and things like that, funerals.
You wound up in Chicago, didn't you? Aren't you in the book?
I was.
Yeah.
Wasn't I in the book?
I think you were.
Wait, what are you talking about? You guys are being too cryptic here.
Yeah.
I thought you were in the book. Is an Officer Justus in the book?
I was. No, there was a character, Eric, killed abruptly. I think he named him after me.
Yeah, that's what I was hinting at.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool Easter egg.
Was it Nick Justus or Officer Justus? I don't remember this. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. I didn't mean to ask your dark past. Yeah. No, I was like,
you were just trying to like get to the book, and he's like just being like, you know, I had to beat down some people.
Nick's like, I killed some guys. It's not fun. I don't like talking about it.
They used to call you the big boss man.
And I haven't had a drink in a week.
Do cartwheels and call yourself big boss man.
I could now. Back then I was a bit leaner, but now if I went back, which I would never do again. Oh hell no.
Yeah, it's gotta be a tough job.
Wow, I legitimately meant to talk about your character, your little cameo there.
You learned about his dark past.
It's okay. You know, that's what these interviews are for, guys. We want to meet the men who help make the FINcast.
And I think with that, we should close this one out.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been so great talking to you, Nick. It's been a long time.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, guys. It's
You were the first. You were up there. You know, me, you, and Jim started this off, and then some imposter named Raven kind of butted himself in the whole process. But
I'm derailed it. It's all gone downhill.
I love every minute of it. So if you guys ever want to invite me back again, I would gladly do it, and I would come over to my mom's and hop on her internet.
We might take you up on that. I think we will, actually. I mean, we really did enjoy talking to you. Do you have anything else you want to plug before we take off?
Plug my 2 comics I'm working on. I'm working on Anne Bonny for Blue Juice Comics, penciling and inking 5 issues currently. They'll be in previews early next year in Previews Magazine for comic shops. So have your LCS order some of those, please. And my crowdfunded book, Serpent Handler, is currently in demand on Indiegogo. That's Serpent Handler. And that's past due, but I am slowly but surely working on it. So that'll be coming out next year as well.
Awesome. We'll check it
Fantastic.
out.
Yeah, the work is incredible, man. I think you're doing really good, and I think if people if they only see Serpent Handler, it's one of those visuals. I mean, I know I gushed about it earlier, but I'm just going to close out strong with that praise because, bro, they just see the visual, they'll be on board.
Thank you.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Yep, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you very much.
So pretty excited to introduce our next guest on this special episode. Friend of the show, guy that was with us on our first episode, which was actually our second episode, if that makes sense, because 0 is our first and number 1 is our first, I guess.
Test case.
Adam O. Pruett, who we're excited to have back. We haven't talked to you, Adam, in how many years now? Maybe 7 years since you left us on that fateful December 2013. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's been about 36 years.
We've evolved. We no longer sound like we're recording inside of a garbage can. But yeah, a lot has happened, and I know you've taken on kind of new positions in the comics industry. You've actually been working with Eric on Savage Dragon and certain things like the funnies. So maybe you can tell us a little bit what's been going on with you in the past 7 years since you were on the FINcast.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to talk to you guys. I do basically a short version of my day job is I do Photoshop stuff at Dark Horse.
Nice.
Artists send us things that are... I'm sorry. Artists send us things that are never... they're never really quite in spec, and we fix them for print. And we work alongside editors and designers and the artists to basically put the books together. And it's a very, very tedious kind of stuff, but sometimes you get to do fun creative stuff like painting and stuff on the tablet, and that's cool. And it's a lot of really, really mostly boring stuff like playing with different Photoshop channels, and you have to have a specific kind of broken brain for this stuff to be interesting to you. But like, it's really interesting to me. Like, I can tell you what rich black blend that Tom Luth uses that nobody else uses, and
Whoa.
like nobody cares about this but me, and so it's a good job for me to have.
How long you been with Dark Horse now? Like it's been a while, right?
About 5.5 years.
Wow, yeah. And
Yeah.
you still doing like some freelance on the side? I know like you were working with Michelle Fife on certain design and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, still working with Michelle. Still doing some stuff on Savage Dragon, although it's just less and less frequent. And still, like all of the lettering stuff too that I do is on the freelance side. It kind of just depends on how busy I am. But I went from being basically doing lettering full time to Dark Horse, and so the extra stuff kind of took a back seat.
But for the listeners, like, you are the one that kind of coordinates and puts together the funnies, right, for Savage Dragon. You curate at least the strips for Eric.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because there's been a lot of different things called funnies or called things that have funnies in the name.
Right.
And sometimes he runs comic strips himself, like stuff he gets from Chris G and things like that. But the ones that just say funnies on the top of them, or the funnies, those are all stuff that I put together with artists that I know or artists that I've found and enjoyed, and they are. There's really no point in doing them except that they're fun to put together, and and he's never objected to any of the things that I've sent, which has been cool because I just send. I don't like. There was I think one strip that I asked Eric, "Hey, is this cool?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine." and I think, one of the. I think there was one strip that we didn't run because it stepped on a joke that was in the book, that was going to be in the issue of the book. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. Becoming also less frequent, but when we do it, it's a lot of fun to put together. I don't remember what issue this was, but a fairly recent one where it was a double page spread, and I kind of went to town with the newsprint stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which again, that's production nerdery. That's just like, oh, I have a really great paper texture that I bought from a pulp book, and then I scanned the book and I erased all of the words out of the page, and I'm using this texture now.
I love like the one with like the fake ads and stuff, like the send away for things. I think you when you put in the ad for the FINcast, which we're eternally grateful for you to put that together for us. But,
anytime that we have anytime that there's room to put in a shout out to the FINcast, and that one was fun. The first several of the ads in that are real ads. And then there's one for FINcast, there's ones for Copra, and then there's a bunch of made up ads. But some of the text from the real ads is verbatim what it was,
which is crazy.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, you've had a lot of great strips that you've curated and put in there. Like some of my favorite stuff was even before Chris Eliopoulos kind of blew up. You brought back The Misery Loves Sherman because he had the Desperate Times back in the day, and I remember you saying that you enjoyed seeing that. So to get him back in for a little bit, our boy Simon Millette with the Average Dragon, who introduced Virgil, who ended up being a character in the main series, was cool. Things like
that was cool.
Dead, Night Watchman with the Big Bang with Chris Eckers, that's cool. And then lately we've been seeing things like Moonbeard and Hecafido, and it's kind of fun. I love having that little added kind of variety at the end of each issue, and I'm glad that you kind of worked with Eric to get that back into the book.
That stuff has been fun, and it's been going on for. I mean, it's not in every issue, but it's been going on for a while now, and I'll probably keep doing them, but just on occasion and when I can.
Does Eric ask for them, or do you get them done in advance for when they're needed?
He little of column A, little of column B. He usually will tell me if he has room in an issue, and sometimes I have stuff to send him in advance. Very, very often, I have, a section that I built already that is not complete, and then he'll get in touch and say that he's finishing up an issue, and I'll be like, okay, well, if I get one more strip in here, then I have a funnies page, and I have some more kind of inventory stuff, and there's no real plan other than it's fun, and I can kind of do whatever I want with it, and so that's been cool. But I was gonna. You reminded me with mentioning Chris Eliopoulos. It's weird now. Isn't it weird seeing? I bought his books. There's a mail away on the back of a Raisin Bran box.
Yeah,
he's got a whole TV show thing going on right now too, right?
He's something. It's really cool to see, and obviously long deserved.
In January, I went to a hospital for a family member, and I was driving super late at night. Everything's super pitch black, and there was an electric sign on the way to the hospital, and there was his art.
Oh wow!
Promoting something, in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, something about like Gandhi or Mother Teresa or something. I was like, what? I was like, what?
Yeah, those books are really big, and you know, those ones that he's been doing that are just his, the Monster Mayhem and Cosmic Commando. That my youngest loves those books. Like, he just started to read recently, and those are like some of his absolute favorite things. And he has access to like everything, so it's saying something that he picks those out, and you know, they're a lot of fun. It's the perfect kind of thing for his age. And
do you remember his Franklin Richards book for Marvel?
Yeah, I think I still have some of those comics.
I got the very first convention sketch of Franklin Richards by him. It was like right when it came out, and he was at the New York Con with Eric, sitting by Eric, and I just asked for a sketch, and he's like, I think this is the first one I did. But like I said, it's crazy to see how big he's gotten, and couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So, you know,
I saw him I guess I met him at Terrificon because I got a G-Man issue signed by him. I didn't get
No, you're thinking of Chris Giarusso.
Oh, wow. Wow, am I an idiot?
How dare you confuse a Chris with a Chris?
The Chris's.
That's okay. I think I have I'm sure I still have this because I save everything. But I have a Marty and Toad sketch from...
Nice.
I want to say 2000.
Yeah.
Probably. So, and I probably was San Diego or something like that. And I think he was there. I think they were having him sign X-Men movie posters because he had lettered some X-Men comics like recently, and they were like, and I was like, fuck the X-Men. I want to talk about Desperate Times and lettering.
Well, speaking of lettering, like, I've seen that we haven't had any funnies, I think, since 247, but you are lettering the Etherian backup by Fosco and Carlson, which originally appeared in Vanguard Ethereal Warriors, right? And now is kind of serialized and in color, with Nico doing an amazing job on coloring. But tell me a little bit about the process of the lettering on that. Are you actually redoing all of the lettering, or are you just reformatting it for the serial?
No, so this is that project has had a very long history. It was originally I believe it was really going to be a serial in Vanguard.
Right.
Because it was done as a serial, like there's chapters. Mm-hmm. And then eventually it was just published all together as a one shot.
Right.
And so I think the stuff that Chris Iliopoulos lettered was the stuff that was the first two chapters. And then when they put the book together, you know, he was busy or for whatever reason, Gary lettered the rest of it himself, and it was all like pasted up because this was 1999, 2000 area, and they reordered the story, and so the pages jump from Chris's letters to Gary's letters to back again, and the transition is really stark between that Chris's hand lettering and the pasted up font, and so they always wanted to get it redone for at least Gary's section to get redone to match Chris's more closely, and so Chris's stuff is still intact. We're not relettering that stuff. I'm just relettering the rest of it and trying to match it as closely as I can using a font that is fairly similar to some of his old hand lettering stuff. It's back in its original order. And the other major thing that they've been wanting to do forever is to get it colored. And just over like about 5 or 6 years ago, Gary sent me all this stuff because he has all this, like he has Xeroxes of the original art as well as basically Xeroxes of what was published. And the great thing about all the original art is it didn't have the paste ups on it. And so I was like, oh, sweet, we can scan all this stuff. And then I looked at the stuff that was published and saw that a lot of the art had changed because they'd done a bunch of corrections. Like Frank had gone in and changed and fixed stuff. Like there's one character who has this like the headpiece on top of his helmet was removed, and so he just had to draw it out in every panel. And so basically I scanned in both sets of pages for Ethereal Warriors and then went through and covered the pasted up lettering with the old art just in these weird balloon shapes, and then we sent all that stuff off to Nikos and Mike, and anyway, it's been this long, ridiculous process, and I'm so stoked to finally see it in color.
Yeah,
it's so much. It's really good for this, like, you know, E3 and Kirby epic type energy. Yeah,
I think it flows better too the way that it was reorganized. You know, the chronology, I guess, of the pages.
Yeah, I think it should make a little bit more sense and just read as, even though it's being serialized, I think it'll be a more cohesive.
So it is being reordered too. So there's a bunch of things happening to like update it.
It's being put back in its original. I believe was the original order because it was reordered for the black and white comic, and there's been talk of Frank putting all of the E3 and stuff in one place at some point, which would be really awesome to do. And
scoop! You hear that, guys? Scoop! We got a scoop.
Scoop!
Let's will it into existence.
I'll have to dig my old Strange Visitors, not Strange Visitors, the other one, Ethereal Warriors out of my box, and to compare them.
Rich Johnson fires up the old Bleeding Cool.
It is fun though to compare them. I mean, the color makes it pop. I mean, there's this one panel that's got all of like the Image heroes of the time. I think when they're talking about them, it's like almost like a half splash or something. And to see it in color, it just it looks so much better. It just, you know, all the characters are well defined, and I don't know. It's good. It just looks nice and polished. I love what Nikos is doing with his colors nowadays. And it just serves the story so well.
It looks really cool. I'm excited to see it. I've been staring at these scans for 5 or 6 years, and then Nikos colored the thing really quickly, and he did it because he did it between when he was waiting for you know, other stuff to come in, and you know, he just kind of wanted to get it off his plate because the art's already done. He's not having to wait on Vanguard E3 and being drawn, so. He did an awesome job. He did it really quick, and for a change, we're actually ahead, which is awesome.
That rare feeling of a buffer.
Yeah.
So, I guess we should pick your brain here. How are you feeling about Savage Dragon lately?
I'm enjoying a lot of the weird stuff. There's part of me that is like not following some of the plot threads really closely because I read the issues when they come in to be when we proofread them, and then I don't usually see them again for quite a while. And so like back in the day where I might, you know, pick up the issue and read it a number of times in a row, now I'm lucky if I can read it twice. And so I'm sure I'm missing some threads that are continuing storylines and things like that in terms of the like continuity cop in the back of my head. I don't really know some of the things that are going on, but he's obviously like having fun just kind of doing whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah. And I really dig a lot of the, you know, the experimentation, whether that's, you know, the really giant oversized art that he was doing for a long time, or like recently the homage to the comic strips, the Famous Funnies issue. That one was just really well done, and some of this stuff, it's sort of like what we were just saying before, where some of it is the reason to do it is because it's fun, and I was impressed that he was able to when I saw the graphic fantasy reprint, I didn't make the connection that he's putting this in now because it's folding into the story, and that's cool too that he was able to figure out a way to do that. But I like some of this stuff regardless of whether or not it serves the story, I guess is my point. Just because it's fun to see experiments, whether they're totally successful experiments or whether they crash and burn. And so yeah, that's sort of roundabout where I'm at.
Hot take. What's an experiment you thought was a little less successful?
Less successful.
You know what? I'll let you have an in and an out. I'll let you have an in and an out. Give us an experiment you loved and one that you thought could have been better.
Okay. I might have to think about this because, like I said, I don't remember a lot from the stuff that has been... well, I can tell you about the stuff that's in progress. I was impressed about the folding of the graphic fantasy stuff into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know that I'm on board with having bringing Dragon back essentially.
Right.
And I would probably would prefer that he went in a different direction with that.
That's fine.
When you say different direction, do you mean bring a different way to bring Dragon back, or don't bring Dragon back?
Call out.
I mean, don't bring him back at all. But I also kind of anticipate that the moments that we've seen him, essentially look like Dragon and behave like Dragon, may just be a pretense to set up the expectation that he is going to continue to be like Dragon, which he can betray as a writer that in anticipation at any time.
Sure.
Which is something that I would sort of expect. But yeah, a more generic complaint is I like it a lot better when he leaves dead characters dead.
Yeah.
And that's been going on since whenever the first time anybody was brought back.
It does feel like Dragon gets special treatment in this regard because he's died a lot and come back a lot.
Oh, well, I mean, his death was the death issue was good, but I loved the moment that we thought that he was dead previously. I don't. Was that 168?
Dark Lord's eye lasers.
Yes,
that was such a good moment.
That was such a good moment. It was like, oh, he's getting the whole story, and he's completely fucked, and this is perfect moment for him to exit. Yeah. I know he had more stuff that he wanted to do with him, but 168, I think, 170, something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be because it comes back in 175.
Yeah, that must have been. That should have been. That's what I'll stake my. I'll die on that hill. He should have died then.
Sure. Well, no, that's good. I love to hear those conflicting, different opinions. Absolutely.
I should reread because then I'll have more really great opinions. But the experiment that I thought really, really worked was the doing the art at the ridiculous size.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I know that's not new anymore, but those are some there's one issue where the whole issue is double page spreads.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's got to be a contender for a top issue. That one is pretty fucking dope.
Absolutely. Holy shit.
My favorite is who's the guy with that's got the split down the middle with the two different colors. I can't even think of his name right now.
Oh, not
recently?
Not Warren Terror, the other guy.
It's like
the
Torment,
guy's got the little worms on his head that kind of
Torment or
evil. Torment, I think.
Anguish.
Man, that issue that's twice up when it's a whole battle scene and he's getting punched through bricks and then he picks up the building at the end and tosses that building. That double page spread knocks me off my chair every time I look at it. It's just insane. I wish, everything could look like that. But I'll tell you what, the art in the past few issues of 250 and 251, 250, it's just top notch. I'm loving it. It's good stuff.
I like the different styles in the comic strip homages. I think for the most part it did I remember this. It was taking him a while to do, and I don't think this was easy to do some of this.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't at all.
I know he did the Calvin Hobbes thing before, but it's still like he does a good approximation because it's not just the style, but it's also like the line weights of the inks, and the Foxtrot one, it looks just like Foxtrot, man. The Doonesbury one is the Doonesbury one is pretty damn dead on. I used to read a lot of Doonesbury.
It's got to be hard because it's obvious he spent a lot of time on this, getting it right. But he gets it so right, it looks effortless. It's one of those.
Also, I'd say the hard part is that he's not copying the same characters either. So he's just applying the style to his characters and still kind of nailing it, which has got to be incredibly tough. I mean,
to figure out what's the way to draw William Johnson to make it look like Gary Trudeau drew him. He's still obviously William Johnson.
Right. And then, unsung hero, Ferran Delgado with the lettering on that, which we talked about, which really just seals the deal on these things.
Because the lettering changed on every strip depending on its needs.
Yeah.
I don't think we mentioned that in the episode.
Titles.
Even Eric's signature.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, dude, the signatures are different from strip to strip.
Well, and it's amazing because I think that people reacted really well to this. I mean, I think
sold out.
Posted recently that the second printing actually sold more than the first printing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which that is strange. I mean, how many times have you seen a second printing sell more than the first printing?
Well, also for something like this, which is it really does just sound like a vanity project for shits and giggles because you're a person who's obsessed with comic strips, and that's it's not really the kind of thing that normally is lights the world on fire or anything, and which is why it's cool to do in the first place, but that's good to hear.
I mean, we're seeing things I feel like Dragon's getting a boost in sales. We know Spawn is selling a ton more suddenly. I feel like there's a wave of people maybe our age that are in the spotlight now, like the cartoonist kayfabe guys, Michelle Fife, that are singing the praises of the Image guys. I mean, for a while it seemed like maybe it was just Kirkman, and now I feel like it's catching on more. At least the guys that are more in the spotlight now, and I feel like it's building sales on Savage Dragon. You're seeing back issues kind of flying off the shelves per se on eBay, and you're seeing sales picking up. I mean, it feels good. You see that too, or what's your take on that?
I think it's a generational thing. I mean, it makes sense that we would pass the generation that look down their noses at Image and arrive at the generation of people who grew up reading it and grew up going, I don't care if this Youngblood issue was never concluded. It was fucking cool, and also there's something that was unexpected, but has been happening this year is book sales are actually doing okay. In some areas, book sales are doing very well because people are at home and they need shit to do, and so I don't know. It kind of depends on the comic when you switch to talking about direct market stuff and comic store stuff, but in terms of trades and book market stuff, that's actually performing better in some areas than a lot of people would have predicted for fucking pandemic.
Yeah, everybody thought that, like, when Diamond did their little oopsie, no more books, everybody thought it was fucking the end. And then, like, to see everything sort of do an about face, it's like, whew.
It's amazing how off things are like that, you know, like how wrong we could have been.
Yeah.
Real quick, we got to throw this kind of stuff out here because, I mean, it's all about you, baby. The next experiment that we have floating in the ether, since we've been talking experiments, is the I would like to draw Savage Dragon in different artists' styles. So
comic artists this time, not
yeah, not strips or comics, but comic artists. So if you get to be, you know, let's say being John Malkovich, you jump in Eric's head and you're controlling the robot, the Eric Larson robot. What artists are you, Adam, going to make that issue showcase?
Okay, I'm just going to answer this. This is a really fun question. I'm just going to answer this in an extremely self-serving
Please, that's the point.
way. Okay. Mobius.
yes.
Sergio Aragonis. Larry Martyr, which, I mean, they've sort of done that a little bit.
Dragon.
Yeah. James Stokoe.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Killer no filler here.
You know what he should do, and he might do some. I wouldn't put it past him to do something like this. He should do an issue where, like, each page or spread is done in a different EC artist style.
Yes.
So you've got a Jack Davis spread. You've got a Bill Elder spread. Obviously Kurtzman.
Yes.
But even like I've fallen in love with the old, like, early EC, right when it changed from being like publishing like Bible comics but hadn't yet started doing horror stuff. They were doing like a lot of crime stuff, and Al Feldstein was still drawing a lot. Like, he hadn't yet become like main writer editor guy, and his art's not up to par with the rest of the EC guys. Like, it's just not, and it's clear why they moved him into this other role. Where, but I kind of love it because it has this hideous dripping quality, like you'd see in like Fletcher Hanks or even Benjamin Marra stuff. And
it does.
So any of those guys.
So what you're saying is there needs to be at least one page dedicated to someone who wasn't like a master at the craft.
No, those guys are mostly masters.
Those guys are masters, Al Feldstein notwithstanding. But yeah, one page for him for sure.
These are great picks.
Yeah.
I agree.
These are great picks. These are great.
Yeah.
Now, if
and Fife also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta throw your boy in there.
Yeah. Hell yes.
Now you just gotta find a way to get into the Eric Larson.
Would it be weird for Eric to emulate an artist that came after him?
No, because it's about style. And man, there ain't a voice in comics right now that I think is as unique as Fife. No contest. So, like I said, he's like a modern Sam Keith. Like, you see his shit and you know it's him.
Don't forget, I mean, Eric's done stuff with like Hellboy, where he drew Hellboy as, you know, in Mignola style, or, you know, someone like Madman or something like that. So, I mean, he goes out of his way when he's drawing certain characters to make it look like the creators look.
That makes sense.
So, I think it'd be cool. Hell yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Good stuff, man.
I knew the kind of cat, for just a little side note for FINcast listeners, this is my first time getting to talk to Adam.
That's true. You never crossed. Your boats never passed in the night.
Are you sure about that? Really?
Ships in the night, yeah. But the thing is that through email many a time. So
I'm pretty sure we were on, like, maybe.
No,
you know what?
I
can't trust my memory at all.
Yeah,
so
my recollection.
Just take your word for it.
My recollection is that Craig replaced Nick and even replaced you.
You're wrong.
What? Oh no, you're right. You're right. Adam replaced Nick, and then Raven replaced Adam. Yeah.
So, but basically, like the thing is that like I knew that like the whole graphic design thing because like when I turned in my backup for 225, you're like, this is just a nerdy kind of a question because of who I am, but. Did you select these blacks using channels, or did you just turn the line art up adjusting the values on the levels on the thing and setting it to multiply? And I was like, multiply? Because I know that's not what you're supposed to do. I felt bad. I was like, oh, busted. He got me.
Yeah, in his head he was like, amateur.
I don't remember that either, but I believe you. It sounds like something I would say.
And then the funny thing is so like obviously like we get our we speak to you through the emails and like so we're chatting you up. Like usually you're one of the first people we get to talk shop with on the latest issue because it's a hush hush secret. And it's like, oh my god, this. So we're talking to you or whatever else. And what's so funny, Adam, is that like man, like you're as soon as like so you've become like on my radar like forever because we talk to you at least monthly, and like. I feel like I see your name fucking everywhere, dude. You're like everywhere, man.
Your name was on those Ninja Turtle fan comics that we reviewed last episode.
It was.
Oh yeah, those things. Oh my god.
I said, God damn! I said, there's Adam's name. What?
Yeah, he's either letterer or colorist or designer or something. Like everywhere, you're like, yeah, everywhere, dude.
You're
and
everywhere.
Then half the time, you're not even credited.
This is all true. I'm very, very famous, very important,
prolific,
and you guys are should feel honored.
We do.
Yeah, we should be paying you to be here.
The comics industry.
That's right. Somebody should pay.
Yeah, I got your Cash App. There's a 50 in there. There's a 50 in that Cash App. Don't worry. Yeah, no, just saying, congratulations on just prolific,
living the dream.
Hell yeah, being out there and doing the damn thing. Like, you just feel like you're got a presence.
Well, thanks. Seriously, I am fortunate, and because I've had many jobs, and I'm fortunate that I actually like my job. And,
yeah.
and that's something that most people don't have. And one of the cool things about being on staff at any publisher is that you do get to work on a lot of things, and you do a lot of and
you must see a lot of things in advance.
There's a lot of. I mean, you see things in advance. You get roped into things. You might work on something that's like not your project, but you might help out with it, and you get like a. You can spend just a year at a place and get a ton of experience. There's a constant flow. There's a ton of stuff going through all the time. I thought of one more artist to add to the list because I was going to tell you about something that was really awesome. We did the 35 years of covers of Usagi Ojembo book.
Hell yes.
And for a bunch of the Fantagraphics covers, the logos are pasted on the art. And for the retrospective, which is like all of the old covers up to a certain point, they wanted to show all of the covers without art. And so that was easy to do with everything beyond Fantagraphics. But there's something like 30 or 40 Fantagraphics issues of Usagi. And so we went in and basically drew and painted new art on top of the logo and tried to make it look like Stan Sakai's art.
Wow.
And I did, I don't know, maybe 6 of them, something like that. There's a whole bunch of them in the book. And that was one of the most fun things that I've worked on. And
was it a little nerve-wracking to?
It's incredibly nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
because
I mean, you don't want to piss off the original artist.
Well, the good news is it's the title area, so there's probably not a lot up there. That's...
Well, it really depends. So, like, there's a cover where he's getting shot by a lot of arrows. So there's a whole bunch of arrows. So I had to draw all of these goddamn arrows and I tried to make them look like Stan Sakai arrows, and so that definitely nerve-wracking. You don't want to screw it up. I'm told that he was happy with the book, and he sent everybody this nice note and everything, and but yeah, he definitely should be in that list of geniuses, and
absolutely.
That was probably one of the coolest things that I've gotten to help out on.
Cool.
Yeah, man, you were so funny. It's like you read my mind. I was literally going to ask, like, if you had some crazy story of something that you had said, like the more creatively fulfilling things, and you just like busted that gem out on us. Hell yeah!
I read your mind, yeah,
dude. Like you're
I'm
like my
also a
cell
psychic.
phone.
Colorist,
Yep.
letterer,
Yep.
mind reader, designer. All right.
Dynamite in the sack smells good.
Well, dude, let's not make this another 7+ years or whatever before we have you on again.
Yeah.
We had a short
for
time
sure.
talking to you, but it was incredibly fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always welcome on the show if you ever want to talk about Savage Dragon.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Or
it's
yourself.
fun to catch up with you guys, and I mean, I'm sure you guys all know this as we're all old now, but
Now.
right. But I mean, well, Raven and Jim, do you guys have kids now?
Ah!
Or is
No.
it still just, okay.
You're talking
Just
to two
checking.
perpetual loners.
But like I have no idea what time it is ever now, and it actually did shock me when you said 7 years, because I was like, oh, it's been I don't know, a couple, 3.
Oh, it's actually been 8. The last episode you're on was in May 2012.
Okay, well, that's even worse. But yeah, no. The time just goes by incredibly, incredibly fast, and and so yeah, it's we definitely will attempt to catch up sooner. And thank you for having me.
Before you take off, we can't let you go without saying, do you have anything you would like to promote?
No.
Okay.
But just buy books. Support the books. They're gonna keep coming out if you buy them.
Hell yeah.
I don't have a specific book in mind at the moment.
That doesn't... Cool, man. That's good.
You know what? Buy Shinhua Cuisine by Zhao Dao.
Who's the publisher?
It's Dark Horse.
Beautiful. We're on it.
Yeah. That book's dope.
Cool.
Also self-serving. Answer.
It's okay. It's allowed.
Hey, that's a point.
All right, man.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Good
dude.
talking to you.
Good talking to you guys.
Very awesome. Thanks so much.
So we are joined by our good friend Zach, who is our occasional guest host and my personal greatest success story.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Zach.
I thought you had more to go on in.
Sorry.
Hi, guys.
It's good to hear from you again, Zach.
What's up, Zach?
It's all good. It's all good. How are things going your side? The
Disease.
shithole, diseased world that has been 2020.
Well, you know, it's the apocalypse every day.
Yeah. Every day a new horror, more shocking than the last.
You get used to it eventually.
How's the Boris?
Oh, the Boris? Oh, he's just a shit trump. So
Yeah.
Dime store.
dime
Pretender.
store, well, yeah, pound shop. Frickin' shit show. Basically just surviving, but about, it says unconvincingly. But at least we've got comics.
At least we still have comics.
Comics.
Do you collect digitally, or are you getting hard copy comics?
I get digitally purely for space purposes, and then I pick up the archives editions.
Yeah.
So I get it in double.
I thought like England was like still far behind, or they were for a while.
I don't know what was going on,
Hard copy comics.
because there was that whole thing with Diamond, obviously early this year, and just people not being able to get a hold of stuff. Just buying it digitally was just like, oh, I'm glad I'm not getting delays. Thank God.
I was going to say, that probably didn't affect, like, I guess 2000 AD just rolled right the fuck on out, right?
Funny thing about 2000 AD, actually, there's a whole article about it. They've actually handled the COVID stuff like champs, because they're one of the few comic publishers that still has a mail order service. So they've increased their subscriptions during all this, not only in print but also digitally. So they've been doing real well, right, comic wise in all this.
Slamming ass.
Finding slamming ass, sure.
That's how we put it in professional terms. 2000 AD's been slamming ass during the pandemic.
Slamming ass is basically just what's going on in Dragon an awful lot these days, to be honest. So, it's two things they've got in common.
That's what we brought you on for.
So I am curious, Zach. What? This is slightly off topic, but are you reading many comics right now?
Not an awful lot, particularly. I'm keeping it with the core titles, mainly Savage Dragon 2000 AD and a bunch of monthly manga. Just because of cost purposes, money's tight right now. I'm pretty sure it's tight for everyone. So, just grateful to have some kind of income to cover comics.
Yeah.
But I have let an awful lot of stuff go. But never Dragon. Never Dragon.
Yes! That's what we'd love to hear.
Jim, you got him into Dragon, right?
Well, my memory,
guilty.
Yeah, well,
he's guilty.
He was a Judge Dredd fan, as I was, on the official 2000 AD forums, and every week I would post my poll lists, and I started to notice that Zach's poll list was very similar to mine, and so I recommended Savage Dragon back in around 200, or was it earlier than that?
It was the Free Comic Book Day issue that came out kind of circa 200.
Yeah,
so
the Legacy one, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
But apparently,
I knew it was around 216, right? Because I remember there was at least one podcast. I think it was the first.
Maybe it was after 200. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was 216.
I don't know. Maybe you guys were reading it before then, but I do remember it. Wasn't it the Spawn issues or something? I don't know. It was around the time of Spawn. I thought I remember.
Well, whenever it was,
yeah.
Zach is my greatest and only success story in getting some random person to read Savage Dragon.
It's a very, very rotten fruit.
Why do you think more people like Zach? If you like Savage Dragon so much and being in that kind of Judge Dredd realm and reading the same comics that Jim does, what do you think the disconnect is on Savage Dragon for people?
The disconnect, I think, honestly, it's primarily tied into the whole creator-owned market. Certainly in the UK, an awful lot of the perceptions around American comics are still tied into the corporate side, so Marvel and DC. And obviously that would mean here in the UK, Eric would still be mostly known for Spider-Man, Punisher, rather than Dragon. But generally, when you do come across someone who is into the indie stuff, they have heard of Dragon, or have at least had prolonged exposure to it, and the opinions are generally very favourable. Certainly, it's my favourite monthly comic outside of the magazine. Wow. So yeah, it's. I wouldn't be on the show otherwise. So
yeah,
good shit. It's just needs a bit of an extra push here. It's always shown in my local comic shop in Manchester with great prominence whenever a new issue comes out. So there's definitely a readership here in the UK, just not as much as there would be in some parts of America, I suppose.
See, that's so crazy.
Ironically, you probably have better coverage than some parts of America.
Well, definitely right now.
Yeah.
Well, there's
it's not a thing here.
What? What's not a thing here?
I'm saying Dragon presence in a lot of stores is just not a thing.
In some stores,
that's staggering.
Some stores even pride themselves on not carrying it.
Shittily enough. Well, I'm glad. That's actually kind of a cool insight to hear that your shop kind of reps the latest issue. That's neat.
Oh yeah, shit. One of the guys who works there is always just freaking singing its praises. I was like, yeah, dude.
Wow, that's cool. It's cool to... guys, listen, there's a comic shop out there that sings the praises of Savage Dragon. Can you believe it?
This is the best news of 2020, frankly.
Save the year.
Yeah, turned it
You
around.
only have to
Zach.
travel 200 miles.
So since you went back and got the archive collections, is that what you said? Like, have you
Yeah,
gone back and
yeah.
collected like most of the back issues, or where are you on that?
Through the archives, I have collected up to issue 175, so that's like, what, the first 7 archives? I do need to catch up on the archives, to be fair, but as money's a premium at the moment. But other than that 25 issue gap from 175 to 200, I'm pretty much caught up.
Nice, dude.
Nice, I know. I have been meaning to catch up on the archives for a while. Like, maybe this month, maybe.
Yeah, the archives are perfect. I don't know if you've seen like the pickup on, like, it seems like since COVID, there's been a lot of people that have been jumping on the bandwagon, and like the back issue prices have gone like through the roof on eBay. So the archives are kind of the way to go. I know a lot of people don't like just black and white. I love the black and white line.
Oh yeah, no. Anyone who's got an issue with black and white artwork, you don't like comics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got you. Some of the best comics ever made are black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're really shutting yourself out of an entire like realm of like high quality reads if you shit on black and white comics. We ain't just talking about Walking Dead, brother.
That's true. I mean, Walking Dead is probably the most high profile black and white comic. It sells, or did anyway when it was still coming out.
And now it will sell again in color.
Yeah, that's right. They are they
Yeah.
are repackaging it in color. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the old deluxe. Well, you got Love and Rockets. I think the Hernandez brothers still do stuff in black and white, and a lot of high profile indie dudes still do black and white shit. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. It's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that you're caught up. I'm really like curious to hear sort of your impressions of like this current status quo. The whole Canada, the whole Chicago basically being written out.
Yeah.
Like, interesting, dude. I want to hear the Zac take.
Well, the whole Chicago situation, I think, was probably inevitable. I mean, anyone who knows Eric in person, it was it was definitely something that was on the cards to tie in. He's always tied in modern events in contemporary events, political events. So as the whole shift to Canada made sense, especially considering it seems to be basically it was a running joke at the time of the election. So 4 years later, yikes. Yeah, you guys have got it rough right now. Yeah. But I'll keep it kind of neat to kind of like circa 250 to 252 because we're on a premium here as far as time is concerned. But certainly the most pressing big reveal lately with the whole Paul Dragon thing, I don't think any of us could have anticipated that happening. That was a big freaking heel turn. And Eric, you goddamn genius.
So you were familiar with Paul Dragon?
Yeah. Well, there's been the reprints of Graphic Fantasy, so
right.
I was familiar with that version of the character. So integrating it into the main kind of continuity is like, yeah. I mean, we already had Prism, so
right.
Yeah, it's true.
Nice.
It was an insane page turn. It was like
it was a massive.
It was an anniversary issue, so something crazy was going to happen, and it felt like it wasn't. And then you turn that page, and you're like, there it is.
Yeah, that was a weird issue when you think about it. I mean, it was mostly home life, one fight scene, nothing spectacular, and then Paul Dragon.
Yeah.
It's funny how we're like, nothing spectacular, because we're so like used to Savage Dragon just getting rid of like
yawn, body
characters. Count, and he popped off like 3 villains that are pretty long standing.
Well, not long standing, but
over 100 issues, right? Since they've been around.
Wait a minute, who are we talking about here?
The
Vicious Circle Jr.
Yeah,
right?
Vicious Circle Jr. Yeah, it was kind of to me a big
deal. They've been around for 100 issues. That doesn't sound right.
Google it. Someone Google it. We can't waste time.
Someone get Gavin on the phone.
Yeah. But, regardless, like it still was kind of like a crazy shocker ending, and it's kind of cool to hear, like, even for a new fan, like seeing I say you're not even a new fan now. Like, Jesus, you've been reading Dragon now for, 5 years?
More
like
than that.
7?
I want to say it's like 7. Yeah.
7 years?
Yikes.
For a newer fan, it's like still seeing Paul as this kind of a shocker, you know?
Yeah, well, that's 50-odd issues that I've been reading monthly. So I think kind of when you hit that kind of landmark, you're like, yeah! It's like, as a fan, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Curious, I would like to know your perspective. Would it have moved you more or less if it was the return of Classic Dragon?
Oof. To be honest, I don't think it would have done. I think the return of Classic Dragon, which I feel like his story's over now. That final image that we had of him was kind of like the end of that story, and Paul Dragon is like a good consolatory way of doing both of these and also tying it into the merging of the multiverse elements from how long has this story arc been going on now? Like 25 issues since that merging happened. Yeah, it felt like the right move, rather than just bringing, because you see people online like going, oh, it's not even the original Savage Dragon anymore, it's his kid, oh, I preferred it when it's just kind of like, yeah, but that's the great thing about a legacy title like Dragon, is that you can keep it running, and he's even setting it up now with Malcolm's kids, so it's just going to keep running as long as he wants to do it, and all power to it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Quick note, the Vicious Circle Jr. came out in 182, so about 70 issues. So I would say that's kind of long-standing. But
That's pretty long.
Yeah,
dude,
but they
'cause-
appeared and then went to jail for most of that time. It's not like their history is mostly in their legacy.
semantic.
Less.
Potato.
You say potato, I say Zermaterbort.
I think with Dragon, they got, I would say, probably as much screen time as any like secondary character. You know, think about it. They probably got more like screen time than like fucking Rogue Warrior at this point, right?
Yeah, but
He's not been in the book that much. He's old, but he's not been in the book that much.
All right. I see. All right, I'm not going to win this battle.
Yeah. Also, 252. You know, a wacky experiment issue.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to hear like your take. Like, you know,
Oh, it's fucking genius. I freaking love it when an entire issue of a creator-owned comic is just this massive love letter to this insanely niche. Well, I suppose funny strips aren't that niche, but when each two-page spread is just dedicated to one specific influence, then it's
252, right?
oh well, yeah the funnies issue.
yeah, salutes the funnies.
yeah, Raven said 252. You might have thought he meant 250 also.
I thought he said 250. Sorry.
252. Yep.
Wait, so did you say 250 also or 252?
No, 252.
Oh, all right. My bad. Screwing this all up.
That's all good. I mean, both solid issues. 252 is just genius. Quality shit. I mean, I can't confess to being familiar with, obviously, again, this is the American element of it, where a lot of these funny strips that would have influenced, I'm not particularly exposed to.
I never thought about that. What kind of newspaper?
that's
What
true.
kind of newspaper comics does the UK usually like? Are they
Oof.
homegrown ones, or do you get a lot of like?
There are
imports?
some homegrown ones, but I couldn't tell you which ones are currently still running. An awful lot of the ones that we do kind of see in the daily papers are imported American ones. So
Okay.
Garfield, Dilbert, but we don't talk about that. We try not to. The majority of the funnies don't generally run in newspapers anymore. They more run in things like the Beano or the Dandy R.I.P.
Okay.
Whoa. What's that?
Oh.
Oh
I have
god.
no idea.
We
dandy?
have to explain to Craig what the dandy is. Fun times ahead.
grief. Do you know Banana Man?
Yeah.
That's
Vaguely.
Banana Man is one of the seminal strips that was in a kids' anthology comic called The Dandy that ran for like 120 odd
They're
years.
like
for some-
Mad Magazine, but they're for
Okay, so it's
younger
like a magazine
younger
on the
children.
stand.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not around anymore. It's dead. But anyway. No,
like Mad
it's...
Magazine.
Just like Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
But yeah, putting aside some of the influences that I might not have been familiar with, 252, just a brilliant experimental foray into this kind of completely different style of making comics.
Yeah.
So, you know what you got to do, Zach? You gotta you gotta Google up those weird strips you're not familiar with to get the like real full effect. Like, it's hard to really appreciate that Kathy strip with Angel and Alex until you've seen the shittiness that is Kathy.
I'm vaguely familiar with Kathy. I've heard it's awful. So
nailed it.
Highly underrated, Kathy.
You do not like Kathy.
I don't.
He said it was his favorite strip.
I don't love Kathy, but I like Kathy. I liked Kathy growing up. It was like a window into adulthood.
Oh, morbid. A grim window.
I'm walking away.
A grim view of the future. Wow. Well, question, we'll keep it Zach relevant. If there was a strip from the UK that you would have liked to have seen represented, because we did all of our American shit, like, you know, I would have liked to have seen this, you know, that.
Frickin' Andy Cap.
Andy Cap? All right.
Yeah.
American Andy Cap ran in U.S. papers. I read that growing up, too.
I read it on the back of Hot Fries.
On the
Yes,
back
me too.
Oh, right. I forgot. He was the mascot for Hot Fries, wasn't he?
Andy Cap was the
Yeah,
mascot
Pub
for
Fries.
Hot
There was
Fries,
actually where I grew up, there was a bar that used Andy Cap as their logo. I think they were doing it like illegally. But
Oh, sure.
Did you guys have that, Zach? Hot Fries or Pub Fries?
Pub fries? Nah. I'm
It
sure
was
that's just...
it was like crisps, like chips, like
spicy chips.
It was like Andy Cap is the mascot, and it's just a snack.
I don't see the connection, so that does lead me to believe it was probably bootleg.
No. The Hot
they're
Fries
real.
thing's
They're
real.
not-
It's because
was it?
it's because they're served at bars.
They had
Holy
Pub Fries
shit.
too. They had like salty, they had like corn snacks.
Oof.
It was pretty gross. Like,
Yeah,
it was
they're
not
not
a great...
Dude, I ate up those Hot Fries as a kid.
Me
I don't
too.
care.
Me too.
Dude, I devoured.
Are you one of those
things.
people that ate pork rinds?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I'll eat
Because
anything.
who the hell?
pork scratching.
I don't know who
Ooh.
pork rinds are for.
Pork rinds are for me.
They're gross, but I can eat them. I eat the hell out of them. I don't know why.
Yeah, pork rinds.
It's just
Some days you just want to self-destruct. Just
Just fried.
shave
pork
10...
skins,
Yeah.
chips.
Shave 10 years off your life.
clearly the strip that Eric missed was doing a send up of Desperate Dan. That would have been good.
Oh, yeah. Basically any... But again, I don't think he's particularly familiar with...
Oh,
any
absolutely
of the-
not.
No.
Hey kids,
Asterix and all
I mean, there
Blix
was
and Tintin.
one of them that kind of like had echoes of like the Beano. Forget which one was it? I'm gonna have to look it up now.
I bet Foxtrot. Or, you know, what's it called? Box snot in this one?
No, I don't think it was.
baseball.
was it the tumbleweeds one?
Yes, yeah, it had echoes of like something that would have been in the Beano, but I don't think that was obviously the primary info.
Oh, you don't know about Family Circus. Lucky,
Oh,
you're
what's
so
that?
lucky.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Blissful
Zach.
ignorance.
It is the worst.
I didn't realize the hatred for it.
What, Family
I didn't think it
Circus?
was good, but I didn't realize the hatred.
Oh,
The pure hatred.
Family Circus is it's got its overt Christian overtones are a problem a lot of the time.
See, I didn't notice
Yikes.
that though. I guess as a kid,
I just think it fucking blows. It's just not funny.
Yeah, it's also not funny.
Yeah, but I also find that most strips aren't funny.
And that's true. You know, guilty
It's
as
a
charged.
difficult tightrope.
Speaking of difficult tightropes, we're trying to keep this tight. I don't want to miss this opportunity to ask you what's your take on this Joe Biden variant and all the hubbub, all the hullabaloo. As someone who's just looking at the shit show that is America's current situation, what do you think of that variant and all the hullabaloo around it?
Oh, Eric's a fucking king. I wish more comic creators, or particular creator-owned ones, would take a more freaking open stance in their works, because if you're going to commit your life to a work of fiction, and you're going to imbue elements of your personal opinions into it, just go whole ass hog into it. Don't be subtle. Subtlety's for fucking cowards.
Yes.
Subtext is for cowards.
It is.
Eric is goddamn fearless, though.
Oh yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He's amazing.
He's never. It's insane the stuff he says sometimes. I'm like, and it's great that he says it, but it's crazy that he says it.
Yeah, I kind of wish more comic creators over our side would be as open, because we've got such a just fractured political.
Well, I mean, you've got Pat Mills.
Oh yeah, Mr. Apolitical Pat Mills. Oh, anyway, I let a little bit of my disdain seep in there, but anyway, yeah. No, nothing but respect for Eric. It's an amazing stance to take, and it's a great cover. And fuck the haters.
Awesome.
What's been kind of your favorite, now that you've read most of the Savage Dragon issues, what's been your favorite era or storyline?
Savage World.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm glad you say
favorite.
that.
A fan favorite.
A lot of people
wasn't expecting it to be, but it just really, really gels.
I know
it's crazy because when that came out, people hated it.
Oh, I think a lot of people still do.
People don't know shit. People have bad taste.
Can I ask that, like, with more issues under your belt, do you have a new favorite, moment, like a standout moment in your mind, that was my Dragon moment?
I'd have to do a big reread before I could say definitively, but I think, again, going back to what I was saying earlier about 250 being my 50th issue as a monthly reader or an ongoing reader, just that Paul Dragon moment, that's going to be something I will recall and kind of go, this is why I read this comics, because it's fucking unpredictable.
Yeah,
right.
It's wacky.
It'll throw anything in.
It's crazy because my favorite issues change all the time.
Oh yeah.
Savage Dragon. So yeah, that's a hard answer, but there's definitely some top 10 moments in my mind.
Yeah, I'd have to sit down and do a reread and concoct a list. Something for the Facebook group.
Who's been your favorite character in the series?
Oh shit! Really been digging Angel lately. She's undergone some really good kind of developments in the last 50 issues. So she's always been fun. Malcolm, I just think, is phenomenally fun. Anyone who's not on board with Malcolm yet is, again, someone with poor taste. But really digging some of the villains lately. I kind of enjoy the fact that the demonoids all feel cohesive. The few kind of that have received any kind of development have been kind of yes, I like these guys. All I would say is, Eric, please bring Fontai back. And
right.
Yeah.
For the love of God, that's the one arc I want to see resumed.
Yeah, it would be nice. You said Fontai, right? Fontai.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Paul there's a huge reason for him and Fontai. Fontai is the reason why Paul exists.
Is he? Wait. Right.
Yeah, he split him and William off.
You're right. I forgot about that detail.
Very timely, Zach. Very timely.
Isn't totally because I just read issue 250. I was like, oh, soon. My boy, the Conqueror Worm.
We have to ask, again, I just think, as your opinions change, as you're exposed to it more, do you have a dream piece of, knowing that we'll never get it, do you have a dream piece of Savage Dragon merch that you would love to see?
Oh, shit.
Knowing we will never get it. You have a monkey's paw, you're making this wish, it's gonna happen.
The God's Sword replica.
I was going to figure something along those lines.
Rapture Fleshlight.
Oh.
It just shocks you.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
going
got
with
a
Raven's
taser in it.
suggestion there, actually. Yeah, it's shocked.
It just has a faulty battery. It just zaps
There was another question.
Actually, here's a question. We speculated last episode Eric is planning on doing a issue like emulating different comic book artists in the near future, possibly. Do you have an artist you would like to see him try to capture the spirit of?
Yes. This is going to sound awful because I always freaking mess his name up. Bill Seinsrick?
Sorry, Bill
Sinkovich?
Sinkovich. Is that yeah. Every time I pronounce it differently, but I know he and Eric are friends. And
that like 3-page, 4-page Dart story.
yes, so I feel like that's likely. He's just an iconic covers artist and interiors. I think he's more well known for his covers, and obviously Alex Ross. I'd like to see get a little nod. So those would be two of the top ones. I've obviously got some like more obscure artists that I'd never ever
throw us an obscure one. This is your list. Throw us an obscure one.
Carlos Esquire. Me and Jim have gone on at great lengths about how he's one of the great comic artists who does not get anywhere near enough the recognition he deserves.
Tell me, who does he do? What does he do?
He was the co-creator of Judge Dredd, so he was the artist who originally designed it. He's illustrated a hell of a lot of stuff over the years. Just one of those Spanish continental European artists that just did a shit ton of work that doesn't get recognised in the States as much as it should do.
He did Hitman, am I correct?
No, he did. He might have done a film on Hitman. He's best known for Like a Pilgrim with Garth Ennis and
what the fuck was that? Jim just got taken out.
I think he also did like a run of Authority at one point. I think he did like a mini series of that. But don't quote me on that. I gotta double check that. But yeah, he was never the big breakout star that a lot of British creators ended up being. But he had his own little domain over in Europe, and it's one of the best.
Cool, good pick. Not as deep as you would have thought a cut, Zach. We did know him. Tell us someone we wouldn't know that you want.
Chris Weston.
Oh, Chris Weston, yes.
I don't know who that is.
Keeping it to the whole British element, Chris Weston has just had a prolific career as cover illustration. Does a lot of interiors and stuff as well, but Chris has a really nice, solid style that I'd like to see Eric emulate.
Yeah, I don't know what to even recommend to see what his work is like, because he does
spell his name so we can Google him.
It's like it sounds. Weston, Weston.
Okay. Got it. That's it. Cool. We'll look into it. Awesome.
Good shit.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. Listen, just before we go, is there anything at all that you're wanting to throw out there for Savage FINcast listeners for the 100th episode? Anything, just memories or anything you want to just say? You stick your flag in the ground.
Stick my flag. I thought you were going to say something else, knowing you, Raven.
Stick your, dick in the butt.
I want to thank Jim for getting me on this adventure. It's been absolutely amazing. I want to thank the both of yous for inviting me on. I want to thank just FINcast for listening, Finadix for listening, and for the love of God, wear a fucking mask. Just wear a fuck. Just not difficult. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it.
Here.
Sweet.
Thank you, Zach.
Get on board with that.
Yeah, I'm pro mask as well.
Thank you for joining us, good sir. We appreciate you taking the time to join us for this episode. Our next guest is a contributor to the FINcast that is quite divisive. Some adore him, and some despise him, but I think there's one thing about him we can all agree we love, and that would be his schmeckles. Please welcome Mr. Scott James. Scott, how you doing?
Good, thank you. I didn't know I was divisive.
No, you're not. That was all bullshit.
Okay, I was just like, okay, note to self, divisive.
Wouldn't that be a horrible way to learn?
Yeah.
we just start grilling you. Now, Scott, why are you such a prick?
Actually hates you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like going, oh shit. What did I say last time?
It probably makes for a good
time.
It makes for a good nickname.
Yeah, last time. Yeah, right.
Scott the Divisive James.
There you go. That's better than Scott the Schmeckle James.
Yeah, man.
Says you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea here is we're having you on because listen, it's a celebration of FINcast hosts, man. So we just want to sort of talk to you a little bit about how you're feeling about Dragon and where you're at, and we got some other questions locked and loaded. So first of all, my good sir, how you been?
Good. I've been good, man. I've been enjoying what you guys have been doing, and I've been enjoying Dragon. So yeah. Life is good, and I've been busy drawing. So it's whenever I can draw.
How is Juice Man doing?
Good. It's actually doing really well. I've got a UK publisher who's going to publish it, and Juice Man's going to be published in Germany.
Nice,
so
dude.
That's cool.
Yeah, in German. So I'm going to be the David Hasselhoff of comics. My dream is coming true.
For the listener, though, your Juice Man is your creator-owned comic. You've got it right now. What's the name of the website? It's on Tapas, right?
Tapas, yeah.
Yeah.
It's free on Tapas. I do about a page a week. I'm currently plowing halfway through issue 4.
Nice, dude.
So, and once I get to issue 5, the UK publisher at Marcosi is going to bundle it up, wrap it up, and basically do a graphic novel or collected of the first 5 issues.
What's going on with that? Sorry, Craig, it's my time. No, I'm kidding. What's with that Juice Man statue?
I'm trying to find a place where I can get it made. I've got the actual Dion Knuckles did the beautiful sculpt, and I'm actually talking to him about I'm talking to him about doing an Icelander one to where they're kind of sparring.
Nice.
So I could do them as a set, but trying to find a 3D printer that doesn't want to take one of my children and charge me an arm and a leg.
Shapeways, have you looked at them?
No, I have not. I'm writing that down. Shapewaves?
Yep, Shapeways, like there are ways to shape your product. So Shape and Ways. Check it out.
Will do. Thank you.
They're just a 3D printing service. That's all they do. You send them your file, and then they'll send you a print.
Nice.
Yeah, look into it. It's a beautiful piece, dude. I really hope that you can get something done.
Yeah, I am too. That's why I'm hoping to get the companion piece of the Icelander. So
Nice.
Yeah, kind of bookend.
Nice. Yeah. Is the Juice Land collection gonna be in English or German or
that's going to be in English.
Nice.
The German publication is going to be in color, and which is nice. I colored the first issue. The publisher is going to be coloring the remaining issues. Mm-hmm. And then I'll be printing the floppies here in the States.
Cool.
Die Juice Man 9.
Da Juice Man. Yeah.
Achtung, Juice Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do the cover with him, with a big Stein and maybe a Glockenspiel and the Lederhosen. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Glockenspiel.
So
most ridiculous instrument ever.
Let's make it dragony for a second here. Of course, 250. We got this total sellout and total success. We got 252 going back for a second print. It was sold out the first time. You just mentioned briefly that you were just feeling it. Getting into that a little bit deeper. Of course, we've been doing the shows. We just want to know, as a FINcast host, give us the Scott Skinny. How you feeling about those landmark issues, or anything in particular you want to touch on, like Paul's impact?
Well, I didn't know how I felt with Paul Dragon being in there, and the more that I'm seeing, the more I'm liking. It took me a couple reads, and maybe it's just that visual aspect that I have for the last issue with the Celebration of Funnies. I think I posted, I wasn't feeling it. Maybe I just need to reread it. And you guys definitely jumped on and said, yeah, give it a reread. And I did, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think Raven almost defriended you. He got all shit.
I know. And
I just
like,
said bad take. I was like, your blood sugar is low, man. Just
I know. Well, and the thing is that when I go into a dragon, I expect to see that classic Larson look. And I think that's what threw me. It was like, okay, I've kind of seen this before because he did the strip back when Jennifer married Dragon the first time and he adopted Angel. They went, that whole leaping scene with McDonald's, the wedding. He did that for what was it, CBR or what, a comic book, or CBN. He did a strip in their little magazine or their little newspaper, and then he collected it all in an issue. So I felt it was kind of done, and then after revisiting it, it was like, okay, I had a different take because when I look at a Dragon book, when I pick up Dragon, I pick it up to see Eric's distinct style, to see, and not seeing that, it kind of, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. All right. And it was hard for me to read because I'm an art guy. And then once I read it, I'm like, okay, let me digest it.
Something we mentioned was that it was just kind of interesting because there's a lot of characters introduced in that issue. And what's funny is, so they're not introduced in Eric's style. And so it's kind of funny because the first appearance of what you would assume are going to be recurring characters, they show up and they're not like, you don't really know what they're going to look like again when you see them again.
Right.
So what's your kind of thoughts on that? Are you excited to see their final real looks, or do you just sort of like whatever?
I am, because Eric has such a distinct style and he brings such character to his characters. And I think that's where I kind of, it went over my head in the aspect of this is, these are new characters that are drawn in someone else's style. So, it didn't register that, oh, these are new characters. I wonder where this is going or where that's going. To me, it was like, okay, he's mimicking, Charles Schultz, or, he's mimicking, the Family Circus, style. And it was, I had to remove myself from being a Larson art fan and go into the mode of, I enjoy his writing. Let me look at it in a different perspective.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And that's where at first it wasn't a favorite issue of mine, but then after revisiting it, I had to digest.
So you're digging on the 252. You have come around. I think sort of the thing we were just, this is a softball, kind of easy, but like the next issue experiment that's just floating out there in the ether was just what kind of style. He says he's thinking about doing an issue where he tackles artists. So it wouldn't be like, oh, I'm doing Batman, I'm doing Spawn. It's like, he would be trying to like do a Rob Liefeld page, or he would be doing a Frank Cho page or something like that. If you were to somehow gain control of Eric, if you were controlling his mind, you got your Icelander 3 Viking heads, but they're all Scott heads floating around Eric's body. And you're making, that's a Juice Man reference, listeners, but like you're making him draw in whatever styles that you want. Which artists does Scott James put in that book?
Oh, besides Eric.
I mean, this is Eric doing it, but like, man.
Eric doing Eric.
Eric doing Eric in different style.
He's gonna say Toth.
Say what?
He's gonna say Toth.
I'd love to see Alex Toth, his take on Toth. I've seen his take on Kirby, and I've always loved it. So I would say Toth. I would say it would be interesting to see him try to do a Simonson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It would be interesting to see if he could simplify and do like a Ramita Jr.
Yeah, the big, boxy kind of look.
That boxy, a little bit more boxy.
Really is.
And
Ramita,
I think
would you consider Ramita Jr. more simple? Because I always see Ramita Jr. with like a lot of hatching, a lot of.
if you look at his storytelling is clean and concise. He does. It's usually his inker that does a lot of that texture. And when he has Klaus Johnson inking him, Johnson tends to be heavy-handed in the inks. Now, when Romita Jr. first started out, he was way more detailed. And once he hit starting to do the Punisher, that's when he became more boxy and simplified. And then he went into that Cable miniseries, which was even more simplified.
What was that Punisher? He got his own series for
Warzone,
Punisher, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it was beautiful stuff. But that's when he started to really, after Daredevil, he really started to simplify his stuff. When you had Al Williamson inking him, that's when you got a lot more of that crosshatch and detail during his run on Daredevil. So, it would be interesting to see if he could pull off a Travis Charest.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know Travis Charest.
90s guy, extreme.
He's the one who did a lot of stuff. He did Wildcats. He did the Wildcats X-Men, that World War II one that was just beautifully illustrated.
It's funny because he's like along those lines of think like a Jim Lee clone, but like not clone.
Right.
Well,
not
he
like
started
he's doing
out
his
as
own
one.
thing. Yeah, he's doing it. He came into his own though, pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know who else.
You got favorite artists, Scott? Give us one more. This is your dream. You're in control, man. You're possessing Eric, and he's like, no, I don't want to put Juice Man in the book. But you do.
Yeah. Oh, it would be nice, but no, that's probably not likely. Kirby.
Your faves, dude. Your fave. Give us one. Just one more, and you're out.
One more, and I'm out.
One more, and you're out, James. Come on.
Buscema.
Okay.
John Buscema.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. That's logical.
These are solid choices. Solid picks, my dude.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of something that would be in Eric's wheelhouse, and those are totally out of his wheelhouse.
Are they?
That's the point, I think.
I don't think a John Buscema. If you look at Eric's style, I could see Eric doing more of a Kirby than a Buscema.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see him try it.
I'm trying to remember. Buscema is one of Eric's favorite artists, though, right? No.
Oh, I don't know.
No,
know
not
if he
like
said
Gil
that,
Kane
no.
or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
or
all
Herb
all
Trimpe.
the 70s comics that he read. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Kane, Trimpe, Kirby.
Burn.
Yep.
Yeah, I was trying to throw ones out there that he typically wouldn't. It'd be interesting to see his take and his approach on that.
Scott, I would say your art is pretty heavily influenced by Larson. We can tell you're a fan. There's certain guys that have their own kind of school of art. I feel like Liefeld, there's a ton of Liefeld guys that look like him, like Chap Yip or John Mallon, or Jim Lee had guys like Brett Booth and McFarlane. I think John Cleary, whatever, the Deadly Duo artist, or Mario Gully with Ant. But I feel Larson never really had a group of guys that really
Imitated him.
Not even just imitated, but just were heavily influenced. But then there were guys like Mark Englert. I find I put you in that category. Friend of the show, Mark Welser, I feel is heavily influenced.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're heavily influenced? And what is it about Larson that's his art that really captured you or really got you into it?
I'm definitely heavily influenced by Eric. It's what got me was his storytelling and his action, and how he was like a modern day Kirby. I was, I liked Kirby, but I wasn't like a major geek of Kirby stuff until coming across Larson's work.
Mm-hmm. Guys our age aren't. That's how it usually works.
Yeah, but I was always a fan of Toth. Mm-hmm. And what I found really freeing and inspiring about Eric's work is that it's loose, it's fun, it can be tongue in cheek. I was coming off of doing a lot of RPGs and CCGs and role-playing games and that kind of stuff. So it was more photorealistic where, when I was in college, I did Juice Man, and it was more of a, that tongue-in-cheek, and I saw, that sense of humor and being able to, Eric can play with proportions. Well, I like playing with proportions because when I created Juice Man, he was, created because of the guys that would skip leg day, and I always called them Juice Men. So,
right.
That's how that came about. So it was like, oh, well, maybe there is a place for this. And seeing how he was able to just have that panel just light up with action, and the story was solid. It was like a total package. So yeah, I mean, I am definitely heavily influenced by Eric's work. There's little bits that I sprinkle from, all of my influences, but you see it especially in my hands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Eric Larson hands, they're in your face. They're, you've got the knuckles and the certain way that he draws the knuckles. You see the power in the fists, the closed fists, and I'm just like, I've always loved how he did that.
Yeah.
So
the use of foreshortening, I know he's mastered that. I feel like you're at that level. I think one of the things I enjoy, and I know a lot of the readers enjoy, is when you do a backup, you're really able to capture the look of Dragon, which is fun. It's always enjoyable when someone can capture like the main artist's look and run with it and put their own little style on it as well. But I was just curious because it's a weird thing where you don't really see that many people that are in that Larson school of art. And like I said, I feel like you and maybe a couple other people really took to it.
The three you mentioned, Craig, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember Eric saying one time in an interview, that not many people mimic his style or are influenced by his style, and if there was somebody that was like that, or like a Jim Lee clone but an Eric Larson clone, he would hire him. So that was like maybe I could get hired. I like the style, and it was me also immersing myself in trying to dissect what he does. Kind of reverse engineer. Okay, well, how does he look at this action sequence? What is his pacing? What are those certain nuances that he has, and what are those notes that he's hitting? To make it flow. So, pound for pound, he's the best visual storyteller when it comes to that slobber knocker, drag out fight, so.
Do you feel the need to bring sort of that spirit of experimentation to your work at some point? I know with Juice Man, so far what I've read, you're playing it fairly straight. You're not doing anything like crazy, but do you feel longevity, like down the road, like long term? Do you feel the sort of, because to me, if you're talking Larson, that's part of the package, is the experimentation.
Yes.
Do you feel that call?
Yeah. I want to get, a certain number of issues under my belt before I start to, even Picasso learned realism before he went off and did that crazy thing called cubism.
Sure.
I want to make sure that I've got the pacing right and that I've got, enough meat and potatoes to sustain me
Trademark.
going. Yeah, I know. For me to go off the reservation. Buying myself some of that. You know what? He's done X a number of issues. Straightforward. Okay, we'll give him this one.
Do you have a experiment bouncing around in the back of your mind, like something that you're just itching to try when you get a chance?
right now, nothing that hasn't already been done. And that's the sad thing, you know.
Well, sometimes, I mean, Jesus, comics, though, it's, like, really hard. Like, sometimes somebody will be like, I got a superhero idea, and it's never been done. And I'm like, you're stupid. It's all been done.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
to an extent, you just got to just do it because, like, what hasn't been done?
what I need to do is try to force myself to do more 2-page spreads.
Hell yes, dude.
I have not. Juice Man has not had one 2-page spread. Part of it is being confined to that Tapas format.
Sure.
Because, you know, with a 2-page spread, it's not going to read without seeing both pages. So
They
eventually,
can't do 2 pages on that.
No, because it goes vertical.
The traditional digital fix for that, Scott, is as such. You, just so you know, Jim, you probably can agree with this. You read a lot of digital mostly.
I do.
You hit them with the smaller, like the smaller things so they can see both sides. And then it feels weird, but it is appreciated as a digital comic when you're reading a 2-page spread. They get the impact of seeing the double page, and then you let them see you let them see the left half and then the right half up close, like as if it was a normal single page.
That's not how I appreciate them.
Well, let us know. Tell me, dog. What's up?
When I'm reading a comic on my iPad and I come to a double page spread, I want to see that double page spread, you know, reduce so I can get the overall look of the page. But
All
then
right,
what I want to do is immediately turn my iPad from portrait to landscape so I can see both sides as large as possible. And then read it as a double page spread as it's intended.
On Tapas, I don't think he's going to get to do that.
I just take my iPad and throw it in the trash and find a physical copy.
I'm with you there on that one. I'd like that. That
I'll be
copy
looking
in my
for
hand.
that German edition.
Yeah. So I've been in some of Eric's experiments. You know, the
digest, right?
was and I don't think I would ever want to repeat that one. That was I really don't. I mean, it was fun doing it, and Eric bailed my ass out, going, Here. I already figured out every way to do this page. Here, you choose. Here's a couple different options. I'm like, thank you.
He's like, here, baby bird.
Isn't it amazing? Like, it seems like easy to him, you know, but I'm sure it's not. But still, like, the way he's wired, like, I feel like the guy just only thinks comics.
Yeah. Well, and I've thought, you know, with laying out pages, how, you know, could I use the same layout and make it that interesting, you know, the same page layout, instead of a 6-panel grid, doing something with maybe a long vertical on the left and a series of, you know, panels on the right, and, you know, do a full issue just with the same panel layout.
There you go, man. That's an experiment.
You know,
Juice Man 32.
There you go.
Bust it out.
You know, without the redundancy becoming repetitive.
Right.
Over the, you know, last couple you know, the Malcolm era, the cast has been growing. I feel like it's been coming more and more and more. The book's been coming more and more and more into its own. And I just gotta say, like, is there anybody of the new cast, the Malcolm era, that's just really standing out for you as a fave? A new character that you're just like, yeah, man, you know, that's one I hope goes the distance.
I'm a big fan of Angel. I love Maxine. I love what he's been doing with Maxine. You know, I love the little pet names. You know, so when he killed off Dragon, I was like, you know what, I'm good. I don't miss Dragon. You know, I bought into Malcolm, and
sure.
You know, it was a long time coming. You know, from him being in Dimension X, and we seeing little snippets of him in Dimension X, to him getting out of Dimension X and then growing up. You know, and you know, Emperor Kerr, I think Eric was really starting to let me drive a little bit of a wedge between people and Dragon, so that when he does go Way of the Dodo, they're more vested in Malcolm, and I think he really did that, especially keeping Malcolm and Angel close, and those three, Malcolm, Angel, and Maxine.
Right.
I'm in. I truly enjoy him. I wish he had, better baddies.
We all wish for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think more could have been done with Scourge. I think the Dart thing, I kind of like that she's now kind of, mixed with Mako.
How you feeling about the Vicious Circle being in Toronto? Like, is it what needed to happen, or are you just like, we've been there?
I'm kind of like we've been there. I'd like if we had new Vicious Circle characters, that would be, they're still the same crew. I'd like to see new Vicious Circle characters if we're going to keep the Vicious Circle around.
So, for instance, Samurai and Insect and some of these characters that really haven't gotten the spotlight, them stepping up and becoming more leads, that doesn't enthuse you as much as a new character?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I was like, "Ooh, Scourge is an awesome design. He's a cool looking character." The Chained Man was a cool design, and it's if we would have drawn that out a little bit more and seen where those possibilities. I know I'm holding off to see what happens with Scourge's little demon babies, but that's something that's going to come down the pike. We've seen how many times has Malcolm fought Dart, so it's to me, even though she's got that Mako mix going, it's still. I'd like to see new bad guys.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the for the long haul, not just for there's a couple issues. Malcolm's fried him with his lightning power.
Right.
So this is timely then. We glimpsed the cover of 257, and you got Malcolm fighting Thor, who, he can't use the lightning powers on Thor, So I got to ask, what's your take? Because me and Jim were having a little bit of a fight. Is it going to be, Malcolm just is at a total loss because he can't lightning his way out of this fight, or is Thor going to be holy shit, this dude is I can't use my magical thunder on him?
That's going to be an interesting fight, especially considering Thor is still blind.
Yeah, call it down. How's Scott James see that one going?
Without his sight, but he, considering he's using his and Annie's son as like a lapdog, or
Right.
seeing I Ginger, it'd be interesting to see how it goes, because I think it'd be almost like Mother Mayhem with the babies that were on the umbilical cords, they chewing on Dragon as they're coming back into the atmosphere. I could foresee Thor's kid chewing on Malcolm while they're in the middle of fighting, as a distraction. But without Thor being able to see, I don't know, how effective he's going to be.
He's a god.
He's a god,
some other
but
god's eyes or something.
He'll just echolocate.
there you go.
Like a dolphin.
Bat Thor.
Let me ask you, Scott. I mean, I think you've probably done more backups than anyone besides Frank Fosco and Savage Dragon. You've done Max Damage, Deadly Duo, Alex Wild, Neutron Bob, a Lightning Bug backup, Barbaric and Ricochet. I think Battle Girl and Red Giant and Star One. I don't know. Am I missing any there?
No,
but
that's yeah.
It's pretty awesome that you've gotten the ability to play with all those characters, and I know you've added a couple of your own characters in the mix, like Beer Belly and Kill Crazy. Are there any characters that you itching to play with to do a backup that you haven't played around with yet?
I would probably say it would be cool to do a Maxine. And Maxine backup, an Angel backup now that she's, not Battle-Girl, more adult, probably those two.
When you say Maxine, do you mean like more of the sort of down-to-earth, like in her apartment, like quarantine kind of stuff that we're seeing? Or do you have something else in mind?
Raven just wants to know, like, can be like sexy and stuff.
Hey,
just say it, dude.
I'm down. Just say it, dude. Just
you mean just a home?
Yeah, at home where maybe the bedroom. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe a quarantine thing. That would. It could be interesting, especially as great as Eric writes. I think one of those more intimate moments would be cool. Not the way that you're thinking, Raven, but maybe the way you're thinking, But, something, not per se, a slugfest. But,
right.
I really enjoy Angel as a character. I mean, I think she's come a long way. You can tell Eric's vested a lot of time in her. I haven't done a Malcolm backup. That would be kind of cool.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah.
You've definitely done like sketches though, like a cover, like a blank cover, right? Like a commission.
Yeah, and that was back when Malcolm was just starting to try to take over when he was kind of starting to do the transition, where Eric was doing the transition between Dragon and Malcolm. That 250, I was like, oh yeah, let me do some. So
200, you mean?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, issue 200. So I was like, let me do. I like the idea of kind of like doing those little monster condom ads. So I was trying to, do tongue-in-cheek stuff
State Fair zucchini.
Yeah, who needs a Trojan when you have a monster? And Maxine's holding up the two difference, between the two different condoms. One looks like a body bag compared to the Trojan. So, but no, probably those three characters. I would be, and I'm always down for a deadly duo. I really enjoyed, Kill Cat and Kid Avenger.
How does that usually work? Do you approach Eric and say you have an idea for something, or does he just say, "I've got a script, you interested?"
It's happened both ways. It's happened both ways. My very first backup, I was like, "What does it take to get a backup?" And he goes, "What character do you want to draw?" And I was like, "Alex." And he goes, "Well, I'll get back to you." And then I did like a pinup of Alex on the bed, in her police police shirt and handcuffs, and I sent it to him as a pinup. And he goes, "We'll use this as the splash page." I'm like, "Oh, nice. Okay, cool." And then I waited another few weeks, and he then still hadn't sent me anything, so I laid out 6 pages. And it was my take, and I called it Women's Intuition. And it was me implying that Alex knew something was off with Dragon because he was Dark Dragon, not, her dragon. And she was telling Frank. So I had Frank in the backup as well, and they were in a bar talking. The CD bar, they were in the CD bar talking. And, she saw Dragon take a bribe. She's explaining all this stuff to Frank, these things that are undragon-like. And Eric goes, "Not bad. Not terrible, not bad." He goes, "But I think that was what set him off going, okay, here's a paragraph." And it was like literally 6 sentences, and each sentence was kind of a page. And then I took that, and that's how I did. I think it was 132. I forget which one it was, but it was that first Alex backup. So.
Wow, that was quite a long time ago now.
Yeah, and then there's times where Eric contacted me with my first time drawing the Deadly Duo with that digest where he said, I got a Deadly Duo backup. Do you want to do it? It's for an experiment. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm in. And then I'm like going, oh, what did I just sign up for?
Right.
Help me. I can't figure out how to lay out these pages so that they work in both formats. So.
I'm going to ask, it's a cliche sort of question, but I don't feel like we've ever asked Scott this, though. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've answered this 100 million times, but, like, I got to, with this, we're basically celebrating FINcast hosts here, so we're grilling you. We're interviewing you. But, you get, again, you're getting your wish here. You get any piece of Savage Dragon media you want. It could be anything, man. Like movie, video game, a statue of Maxine, whatever. What are you getting, dude? What's you're gonna wish for? It's gonna happen. What are you wishing for, Scott?
Ooh.
Any merch in the world. New animated series, whatever.
It would be nice to see a new animated series of Dragon done in Dragon style. We see a beautiful Invincible, true to character, true to story. Give Dragon the same fucking treatment. I mean,
timely,
and
good,
actually
good
do it
answer.
as like each issue is an episode.
The Invincible thing, it's interesting that you bring that up because their whole big thing, they're selling it too, is they're like, oh, it's going to be animation like, Batman the Animated Series, but violent. Like, because Invincibles, sells the violence. And I just laugh because I'm thinking to myself, man, goddamn, if you're going to do an Invincible, didn't that Invincible animation, didn't that just sort of light your dragon fire?
Oh, yeah.
No one will never get it. This is just, we're wish fulfillment here. But like I'm saying, weren't you just thinking... So let me ask you, like, if they sort of write out dragon involvement, like if we can sort of as Finheads see the parts where there should have been image characters, are you going to be bummed or are you going to be like, it had to happen?
Dude, Dragon's got to be in it, right?
He's got to, dude. He's the proto-Invincible.
And Kirkman being on Larson's tip as
Well,
much as
and-
he is, like...
And you think about how many times they've crossed over and how many times Dragon... has been in Invincible or Invincible in Dragon.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be a nice little tip of the hat or cameo. And it would be nice if it was a springboard for a Dragon cartoon.
I'm going to be using that Invincible cartoon to make Dragon fans left and fucking right, dude. Don't you fucking think I'm not? Because, dude, Kirkman himself, the thing is Kirkman himself says all the time, yeah, I'm ripping off Dragon. Read Dragon. This is if you love this, you'll love Dragon.
But don't you think Dragon's got to be in it? He's got to, right? They're both image partners. Kirkman's not going anywhere. Larson's not going anywhere.
I mean,
plus you
I'm
can't
sure
have Youngblood. You can't have Youngblood, so that ups the Dragon factor.
Well, there's probably legal issues. I don't know if Dragons. I don't think Dragons like TV options are out there, so. Maybe there aren't any issues, but, so it's probably a case-by-case thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing we're not going to burn up Scott's interview with speculation.
USA still owns the rights.
No, it's not that.
We're hanging on to them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Larson owns all his media rights right now, so, it's possible, but,
it would be nice.
It is. It can be complicated, is all.
Well, and it would be nice to see it the way he's drawing it in his style, not that kind of watered down milquetoast style that they did with the first one, and that it's written the way that Larson writes today.
Corey Walker is involved with like art direction on that.
Oh yeah, you could
That's
tell.
why it looks so fucking good. So you got to
yeah.
think like imagine Corey Walker art direction on animated Dragon. God damn.
Are they really selling this show on the violence? Because I'm going to be honest with you, violent cartoons aren't new anymore.
I mean, that was their whole thing. They're like, when they first announced it, they're like, and we're not holding back on the violence. Sorry. This is a network I think Amazon's big thing right now is The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes
yeah.
sense that they would be like, and guess what? If you like The Boys, go.
Edgy.
Well,
Yeah.
Go edgy.
Blood.
Rub the blood.
Everyone's full of that red stuff.
we're all just meat.
Yeah.
Meat
just
puppets.
sacks. Just old blood balloons. Humanity. Yeah, man, just cool. I was kind of curious if you just had sort of I know we've answered that question. I feel like it's a interesting topic. It comes up from time to time.
Trademark.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah, so much. But yeah, I just had to get your take on what your dream merch or whatever would be.
I would say an ongoing animated series that is closely tied into the Dragon, actual what happens in Dragon, and is written more for the readers, not per se the kiddies like the original Dragon was.
Sure.
Nice.
Hopes and dreams for the comics future. What?
Wait. I'm going with Savage Dragon brand chocolate covered raisins. Dream merch.
Little fins? It's just a raisin with a little fin of chocolate off it?
Sure.
All right, man.
Or just Dragon on the packaging.
I like it.
Okay. Sorry.
Scott, before we're winding down fast, man. Before we wrap this show up, I got to ask, hopes and dreams for the future, the immediate future, for the next, let's say, this coming year, 2021. What's your hopes and dreams? What are you hoping to see more of? What would make Scott happy?
In Dragon, I would
Yeah.
I would probably like to, see a more of an epic story arc in the aspect of, we have a bad guy, a new situation that, goes over a period of time, kind of like how Overlord was, 25 issues or 20 issues before he got his ass capped, something that builds, something that, seeds are being sown, or being planted, and we later see how those, the fruit that's, bared from that.
Right.
I think a lot of the issues are one and dones lately. There's not much being set up for, future tales, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Absolutely. We talk about that a lot.
So for me,
definitely a
that's what
theme.
I'd like to see is more of an epic. Going off of Invincible, that was the nice thing that Kirkman did, was that he built, and we had major story arcs that took place with major bad guys, and it wasn't one issue and it's done, or 2 issues it's done. It was over 10 issues or more. Something that would make a nice meaty graphic novel.
Fair enough. Hey, man, look, it's been fucking awesome having you on. Before you go, Craig, Jim, you got anything you want to throw Scott's way, or should we go right to what do you got to promote?
I just want to say thanks, Scott, for jumping in and joining us here and there on the FINcast. I know the listeners always appreciate your point of view, especially from an artist and a guy that's worked on the book with Eric, and you're able to pull back the curtain every once in a while and give us a little insight. It's
Drinking
definitely
buddies with
appreciated.
Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I always appreciate when you guys ask me to be on, because it's, like I said, it's not very often that I get to talk, Dragon with people. So, I try with my wife all the time, and she looks at me like I've got a third eye, or, she gives me that sunny dog look, like, really? You're going to talk to me about this now? So, I really appreciate whenever you guys ask me to be a part of it.
Cool. Yep, you're always welcome.
So promote, man. Throw it out there. We know what it is.
Well,
what are you promoting?
I've got Juice Man,
Awesome.
Juice Man. I'm working on Mob Files still, and I
Nice.
currently just signed a contract, which I can't discuss a lot about, but
Awesome.
I'm going to be doing a project with Dirk Manning. So
Cool, dude.
Scoop.
So I can't really say much more than in the near future, the beginning of next year, you'll know more about it, and it's kind of big. So I'm excited
Cool.
about it.
Nice. Well, you let us know
When
we're
I can
able
talk
to
more
find
about
out.
it, yeah, and be less cryptic, you know.
Yeah, we love to have, like, whenever someone's got a project, like a friend of the FinCast has something, hell yeah, dude. Come on, review the latest issue, then turn around and promote. Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, and I really appreciate the love you've given Juice Man and me, and promoting my stuff. Raven, you're just always, and Greg, you always, going, oh, here, let me share that, or oh, check this out. I always appreciate that. So, thank you guys so much for the love on Juice Man.
No worries,
problem.
dude. You're doing excellent work. And congratulations on hitting 2 different countries. I mean, that's incredible. That is really, honestly, like a feat. That's really cool.
Even the sun shines on a dog's ass some days.
Love clock's right twice.
Exactly. So I'm happy. I'm excited about Juice Man being in German, and the Marcosia publishing the collected black and whites, and they'll be selling them in the States as well. So things are things are looking good. I just got to keep plugging away and getting pages done. So
Fuck yeah, dude. Awesome.
Sweet. Well, best of luck, man.
hey, thank you guys.